What is going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. Man, shout out to everybody hanging out with us live. Another awesome weekend. We are back Saturday. Shout out to chat, man. I see you guys already crowded in here. Let me do some quick shout outs. Talos, obviously our guest here, Shon Su. I saw RSJ in there earlier. Once again, make sure you guys retweet that link. Let everybody know the Shop Podcast is live. Get in here, get your gaming information, kick back, get a drink, have fun with us this weekend, man. We always enjoy seeing you guys. Try to put on the best possible show we can, but I'm not gonna waste too much time because we got so many damn.
Are you skipping Ashtray?
What? Oh no, I didn't.
Look! First, you're trying to replace me with Mav on this show tonight.
He's already frauding in the chat.
No, you're frauding by not even bringing him up. CPTK?
What's up, Ashtray? How you doing, brother? But anyway, but no, we're gonna go ahead and get started here shortly. Let's get to our guest, man. But shout out to all of you guys. If I miss you, I do apologize. Pong on my ass this week, so I can't skip nobody. We got to make sure we get everybody. But shout out to all you guys hanging out with us. Hope you enjoy the show and have a good time. But let's get to our guest, man. Once again, FSP love across the board, man. Lore Master, appreciate you hanging out with us, bro. Let everybody know where they can find you at, G.
Yeah, you can check me out at Lord Jasper on YouTube, or Lord Master Jasper on YouTube, Lord Jasper on Twitter. Just been kind of doing some streaming stuff and Call of Duty videos lately, so check that out. Also, what I've been up to is mostly playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare, going for the Mastery camo this year. So I think I got about like 10 gold guns now. So we're working on that slowly.
The sweats, huh?
Yeah, sweaties. And then on the side, I've just been Marvel snapping it. That's what I've been up to.
Okay. All right. We appreciate you, man. Once again, FSP love. Shout out to Mav, Caitlin, Psycho, everybody over there. You know, I got the whole panel here. We might as well be sharing everybody. So we appreciate you guys, man. Thank you once again, Jasper, for hanging out with us, spending a little bit of time to give us this good game and content, man. But let me throw this over to my two awesome right-hand men who make me look good every single week. We'll start with Pong. How you doing, brother?
My name is Fun Speculation, aka Mav.
This is what I deal with, people. Shout out to Mav, man.
No, it's great to be here, brother. Of course, been a long ass week. Didn't get barely got any gaming in during the week. I got one small time frame, a little bit of Modern Warfare 2 before today this week. Otherwise, I hopped into a little bit of Gunfire Reborn, which dropped on the Game Pass.
Dude, I've been playing the hell out of that game.
Yeah. What a great, fun little roguelite FPS, first-person shooter. It's pretty fantastic. There's some cool stuff to it. I've not had a chance to play co-op yet, but even single player, I'm having a great time with it. So I jumped into that for a bit. Otherwise, I did pop on Ghost Song, which just dropped into Game Pass. Listen, it's not for me because I'm not a Metroidvania guy. But if you like Ori, if you like Hollow Knight, go play Ghost Song right now. So if you're a big fan of Metroidvanias and you want that feel, Ghost Song is ridiculously cool looking. The animations, everything about it, it's got a totally different style, but you know exactly what you're walking into. You will love it if you love Metroidvania. So go check out Ghost Song for sure. Really, really great soundtrack and it's just a beautiful game. Otherwise, a little bit of 2K here and there, just collecting my dailies, doing that kind of stuff. But got a good 4 solid hours of Modern Warfare 2 in before the show. With Steel and of course Mav and everybody except for Jasper, thank God. Kid Sweaty was not there, so we don't have the problem with skill-based matchmaking. So I was actually having a good time today. No, I always have a good time no matter what. But yeah, Call of Duty is the place to be right now. Just absolutely having a blast with that game. So, but we got a lot to talk about. And I had me and Steel had a 5-hour show this morning, so I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's go.
Oh, the wheels are greased. You warmed up. You've been warmed up, man. We're gonna have a great one. It's gonna be a legendary show. You know, last couple of weeks been shaky, so we appreciate you though, Pong, every single week, man. Shout out to Steel as well too, man. Brother from another as well. But last but not least, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere. Besides the Ubisoft stuff, how you been doing, brother?
Been doing pretty good. Been playing my usual stuff. We got a lot of GT7 in and a lot more of Forza Horizon 5 in as well. Got all the cars for the 4 weeks or the 4 seasons and for the 10th anniversary stuff. Looking forward to the Donut Media stuff next week. But Yeah, Ubisoft. I think what's his name, Thylander, or they used to call him Thigh, the numbers guy. I think he may have left, and whoever replaced him, just they're not adding up. So I got
Have
my
you
issues with them.
have you reached out to like, I know there's like YouTubers that like do all like the stat stuff to like try to build like meta builds and stuff in Division. Have you like tried to like tweet them the video to see if they could like get
Yeah,
in contact? Or...
neither one has responded, and the post I made, which I just said something
Didn't
about the
Ubisoft
numbers being
respond
off.
directly? Didn't they
No.
respond directly to you or no? That was
Yeah.
Well,
Ubisoft
Ubisoft
did
responded
respond.
directly,
Yeah.
but then they
Yeah.
sent me to a link that says nothing about if it's multiplicative or
Oh, wow.
additive.
Wow.
And I posted on Reddit, and they took the post down. So
Oh,
I got to
wow.
figure out why they're taking the post down. Is it something that this is a known problem that I somehow missed all
You
this
pulling back the
time,
curtain, Fudge. You can't do that.
So yeah, numbers are off in their specialization stuff. So, and I know there's been issues before, but it's like going backwards. So they got to be multiplying with decimals instead of whole numbers or something. But it is what it is. But other than that, great.
Fuzz, you looking to get another restraining order against you like turn 10? Is that what you're trying to do here? It's been a while. It's been a while, so you feeling like you need that little rush?
That mic's gonna cut off any second now. That you already know.
No, I'm trying not to get banned again because no, but yeah, I other than the division stuff, been having fun with a lot of racing games. Tried that Ghost, what was it, Ghost Song? Played it for a bit. Didn't get an achievement, but I only played for about an hour. I was hoping to get one of those easy achievements, like, oh, you found a secret passage or something. But no, that game looks like it's going to be a little bit of fun for me, and just got to put more time into it. But I wanted to get all my cars for the final week of the season for Forza Horizon 5 and stuff. But other than that, we got some good stuff to get into. So I'm babbling enough already. So let's get into it.
Man, well, let's dive in and shout out chat, man. Justin, I see you, Web Dave. I saw Zinc in here. Let me just go up a little bit. Talos, everybody, Stanley, everybody hanging out with us. Timmy, shout out to all you guys. What just happened? Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Now we're doing a thing. We're going to do a little different. We're actually going to forego the poll of the week. So once again, if you're not familiar with that, most of you guys I see in chat should be by now, but if you're not familiar, follow me on Twitter. I pull it up every single Monday. So, and then we usually talk about it here on Saturday, but this week we got a whole lot to get into. So we're going to forego that, but shout out to everybody who did participate once again, every single Monday. Thank you guys so much for being a part of that, man. But I kind of want to get to the meat of everything going on. So we're actually, I'm going to kick it off this week because I kind of want to start with this. And since it's probably the biggest, I don't say the biggest news this week, but it's a huge deal, obviously, and that's going to be God of War. So I want to talk about God of War, not necessarily just the reviews. Obviously, the game is not out yet, but just the general consensus around the community and here on the panel, just from the reviews that we've gotten, and, is it on par with what you expected? Obviously, it's kind of weird for me particularly because, just months ago, 6, 7, 8 months ago, I don't know if the narrative changed, but I always thought God of War was going to be amazing. My standards were extremely high, and they always will be for that game. That's my favorite Sony franchise, like not even close. But we'll start with you, Jasper. One, are you getting God of War? And two, what were your expectations before we got the actual reviews started rolling out?
I will not be getting God of War because I don't have a PlayStation.
Okay.
But, I like God of War as a franchise stuff. I like the older ones a little bit better. The new one, I would say, I think sequels kind of underperform. I think maybe people go in with expectations of it's going to be better than the first one, and it's kind of a letdown because it's more of the same because it's a sequel. So I think sequels kind of underperform a lot of expectations for people sometimes. So maybe that's kind of what we're seeing now. I'm not too sure, but it looks great. It seems great. So I don't know where you're seeing negative stuff about it coming from. But
no, not now. I mean, months ago, maybe 5, 6 months ago, there was a bit of a, some people were kind of on the fence, obviously, and that's fair, right? We hadn't got really much information about the game until these reviews started coming out. So,
yeah, I mean, it seems like it's gonna be great. I don't know what else to say about it, really.
No, awesome. No big deal. Once again, like I said, Let's just throw this over to you, Pong. Now, we've talked about God of War on the show. Now, I'm a proponent of the older God of Wars as well. I know you said the same thing, Jasper. I do prefer the original trilogy over the current ones, 2018. I obviously not played this new one, but just kind of where you at with it, Pong? I mean, you were gonna pick it up anyway, right? Oh, well, you were not picking it up, but you don't even have a PS5, but you would pick it up if you had one. But just kind of where you at on it overall?
Maybe. Again, God of War, I played 2018, and it was good. It's definitely a good game. I'm not going to take anything away from it. Obviously, way too many people feel it was, potentially got a game of the generation, last generation. So obviously, it's a freaking fantastic game. But for me, it didn't draw me in. I'm a Jaffe God of War guy.
Yeah.
I like my Kratos horny and angry. Okay, I don't like sad dad Kratos.
Dad Kratos. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, again, we talked about this a lot, and I appreciate what Sony Santa Monica did. I appreciate Barlog and his team's vision to redo God of War in a new way, bring it forward, and really change the game. And where it was, where it came from, because obviously Kratos can't do that forever, right? He can't battle gods forever, right? There's only so many gods to kill, and that kind of thing. So to transition to this Kratos and this God of War was great. It was fantastic, and obviously it got all its flowers. It's considered, again, one game of the generation for a lot of people. So hats off to them. So no, I would have held off buying this even if I had a PS5. I wouldn't have. I would have waited till it was on sale or until it eventually dropped into one of their subscription service. But that being said, the scores, ridiculously good. Hats off to Sony Santa Monica. I put out a tweet congratulating the whole entire team. Again, this team is not being led by Corey this time, so this is a fresh leadership team. Obviously, Corey's still in the building. He's working on his new IP. I'm sure he, obviously had some say in it, and they brought things to him, and he, kind of looked it over. But to have a new leadership team walk in and say, listen, we've already built a perfect round wheel and it works great. We're not going to try to change that.
Mm-hmm.
All we're going to do is add rubber to this wheel and make it better. That's what we're going to do with this. And that's why you see so many sequels come out and fail. They don't live up to the original, or they try to change something or try to get cute with it, and it doesn't work because people want more of the same. So what Sony Santa Monica did, and again, I'm going off of reviews since I haven't touched it yet, but when you look at 120, 150 reviews now, you kind of get an overarching theme. There's some things that no matter who's reviewing it, they all kind of say the same thing, and I think that's the important stuff to pull out, because that's probably the real stuff, right? The stuff that everybody sees without any bias or anything like that. Everybody kind of, agrees upon. So, and what I heard was it is God of War 2018, just more of that, bigger than that, and much better than that. They fixed the combat. They fixed a lot of the side quests. They came up with better side quests. They gave you a lot greater variety of enemies in this one as well. You're going to go to even more environments than you did in the first one. So they just took everything and blew it up, which is fantastic. That's exactly what you're supposed to do, and the scores reflect that. So, again, hats off to Sony Santa Monica. Congratulations to them. I've said from the beginning, just like you, PTK, when we talked about this, when we were going through all the DLC nonsense and all that kind of garbage. It started out as DLC. That's true. Of course, Corey,
absolutely.
Corey, that's a fact. Corey presented as DLC, but it was too big. Well, guess what? Now, and I said this from the beginning, I said people, I think, are going to be very surprised by the time this game comes out how big it is. Well, guess what? About 50 hours to mainline it, 60 to 80 hours if you want to do side quests. That's a big game. And for $70, that's the type of value you're looking for out of a God of War. So anybody who is loving this franchise, which is a lot of people, they're going to get a ton of Kratos and Atreus. They are going to get exactly what they want, and it's going to be a full plate for them. And that's what you need when you're going to go do a sequel like this. So again, well deserved from all the reviews. Again, when you get this many reviewers from everywhere, a consensus is a consensus. That's kind of what sure, there was some oddball ones here. We heard about IGN Korea giving it a 6 and that kind of stuff. There's always going to be those oddball ones, but when you get 120, 150 reviewers and they're all like 9s, 10s, look, you're talking about a great game. Now, whether or not it gets game of the year, that's another big question here. Whether or not it can sneak in there and take over Elden Ring.
That depends on what time the check gets in.
But yeah. Personally, I still don't think it does. Personally, I think Elden Ring is such a darling
as well. Yeah,
it's such a darling. Reviewers are still playing it, and obviously, it's majority reviewers who vote on this stuff. There's many of them that are still playing Elden Ring to this day, so it's still fresh in their minds about how great a game that is and what a phenomenon it was. So I think Elden Ring still takes it, but God of War is going to be in that conversation for sure.
Oh yeah. Easy. And I do want to make sure we highlight one thing, and I'm gonna throw this back to you as well, Jasper. I do think Elden Ring, because what Elden Ring was able to accomplish was so unexpected and doesn't happen, almost never happens. It literally like took that genre and like took it to a complete like stratosphere type level. And as great as God of War is, it's not doing that much there. I don't think maybe it's taking it to another level, but not from where Elden Ring took, the Souls type games, or it took that. Elden Ring essentially took that genre and elevated it to a completely different level. And I don't know if God of War is going to do that. So I would give the Elden Ring the nod as far as a game of year as well too. So, but I do agree with that. So Jasper, I kind of want to throw something at you as well, kind of piggyback off of what Pong said. Just regarding, and we might get into the game of the year stuff later on. Obviously, God of War is probably going to be based on the reviews in that discussion for sure. What would have been do you think that it has a good shot at winning? Would you still say Elden Ring as well?
I don't know if it's maybe because it's more recent and it's coming out now, but like God of War is just like, I'm kind of thinking it may inch over, but at the same time, like, I really want Elden Ring to win because that's like my game of the year this year. Just
okay, got some money on that.
Yeah, I just think God of War, like, maybe it's just the talk we're seeing now about it, but I think it could inch over the finish line and actually get game of the year.
I don't know, man. I'm struggling with that. I mean, is it like recency bias kind of thing? Like, since it's brand new, it's fresh.
May be what it is, but I don't know.
I don't know. I just think Elden Ring, it did something. It was so special.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even play Souls games, and I fucking 100%.
A lot of people did. It got me to buy the damn game. You know what I'm saying? And I never play those types of games. So a lot of people, that was their first delve into that genre, and that was millions of people. Not just like, no, like my entire timeline for that month was probably all Elden Ring. And obviously there's going to be some other stuff. Shout out to Abba. He said a Plague Tale 2. We'll probably get into a little bit of the game of the year stuff, but I want to get over to you, Fuzz, get your opinion. Just, where you at? Obviously the reviews look phenomenal. I fully expected them to probably be no less than what we got. I mean, all they had to do was really stick to what they already did, and that was probably easy 90. So where you at on it, man?
Well, it's to be expected that they were going to make improvements in pretty much every way possible over the 2018 version of the game. And I think we kind of knew that this was going to, as much as they've, postponed this game due to other factors and stuff like that, they've had plenty of time to polish this. They had plenty of time to go through and, comb over some of the side story stuff or side missions and things like that to add a little bit more oomph to them and things along those lines. So with making all the improvements over the previous game, I would say these scores are well within what should be expected for the most part. But as far as me picking it up, I'm definitely not picking it up day one. Me on that $70 game train. I'll buy certain games at 70. God of War is not one of them. I didn't buy 2018 at 60. I wound up picking it up with Spider-Man and Gran Turismo Sport, where it was like 3 for 40 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'll eventually pick it up. Looking forward to it, but it's not as high on my list. But as far as when it comes to like game of the year talk, I mean, I wasn't that much of a fan for Elden Ring, but I saw how that crossed the mainstream lines as far as in comparison to previous Souls games or Souls-like games. And like you said, pretty much everybody on my timeline was playing that game for more than a month. There's still people still playing it probably through like a third playthrough, or some trying to finish the last boss on the second phase or something like that. So there's that game had a lot more legs to it than I even expected. And I figured, yeah, it'll be hot for, 3, maybe 6 months, but for it to, still be going and to do the numbers it did, it was pretty amazing to do. But I for that game of the year talk, I don't know. Between the two, I would say because of accessibility, not accessibility as far as the playing the game, but the platforms that you have it available on, I would say Elden Ring should edge it out just because it was in front of more people, at least for this, time period. We'll see what the numbers show for God of War in like 6 months to a year, as far as how many they sell between the bundles and the individual sales and stuff. But Elden Ring definitely, I would say it deserves a place on that Game of the Year talk, but kind of like what you and Jasper were saying, it's almost like, what have you done for me lately kind of thing. And with it being God of War being the more recent, new shiny toy, I think that one may have the slight advantage just because of the timeliness of it. So
I will say I've never, like, the game I want to win Game of the Year has never won Game of the Year.
Really? Ever?
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
wow.
I've always called it wrong. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, shit. I mean, you
kind
never know.
of the same thing for me, because I wanted Ghost of Tsushima to win over Last of Us 2, and we saw how that went. but yeah,
right.
it's we'll see how the Game of the Year talk goes, but well deserved for that team as far as the effort that they put into this game. And now they have their big banger, I guess, for the 22 or 2022 year. We'll see what they have lined up for next year after this, but kudos to them.
And I want to make sure we give proper credit to Sony Santa Monica as well, because they are a machine. They do it. The quality's always there. They put games out, when they're supposed to come out. So they have a great product, and they just continue to pump it out. At a very, very high quality. Shout out to Corey Barlog and Sony Santa Monica. PlayStation in general looks like they got another huge game on their hands. So, but we're gonna go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong. You'll lead us into this next topic, brother. Where we at now, man? What we doing?
All right, what are we doing this week? Well. Where do I want to go?
Okay.
Okay, let's go here. Everyone's favorite reporter in the whole wide world. His DMs are open for everybody whenever they need to talk to him. He's an amazing person who never takes anything personal.
I sense sarcasm here.
Do you?
Maybe.
No,
I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
Can you DM someone if you're blocked?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's called creating an alt count, sir. That's what you do?
A burner.
Yeah,
you got the burner Pong account. Okay.
All right. So Jason Schreier. I am not blocked, by the way. I've never pissed the man off because I've never spoken to him.
Either.
So,
yeah, I'm not
I haven't said hi or anything like that, so he has no need to block me. But so I still get his news. So he had an interesting series of tweets this week. And it started in classic Schreier fashion. He tweeted out about one subject and then just dropped a bomb in there and then just waited for everybody to come to him and be like, "What are you saying, Jason?" And then he's like, "Oh yeah, that's the first time I'm talking about this." Okay, Jason. All right, buddy. This is classic. So what am I talking about here? It's been a long intro for this topic here. So Jason Schreier tweeted out this week. Of course, we know that Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal were purchased by Embracer Group. We know that Crystal Dynamics is working with the initiative on Perfect Dark. We went through that whole hubbub quite a while ago. And so Jason Schreier tweeted out this week that Eidos, it was actually Onama, I think is the name of it. It was formerly Square Montreal. One of the studios under Eidos Montreal. Now, everybody, when they first saw the tweet, thought it was Eidos Montreal, but it wasn't. It was one of their studios. Onoma was getting closed down by Embracer Group. So, of course, everybody initially freaked out. What do you mean they're closing Eidos Montreal? Blah, blah, blah. Well, no, that's not the case. It was their mobile studio. It was the studio behind Hitman Go that they folded. Now, that sucks. Terrible for anybody who did lose their job. He did report that many of the staff was being moved over to Eidos Montreal proper. So that's good news, but terrible for the people who didn't make it. And then his next part of his tweet, so he did that. He said some Anoma staff will be moved to Eidos Montreal. Eidos canceled an unannounced game. So they canceled a game. And then he tweets out a little something. Eidos working with Xbox on games, plural. Eidos working with Xbox on games, plural, like Fable. And he just throws that out there like it's, okay, like that shouldn't be the lead. Like anybody cares about the mobile studio, right? Okay, listen, we're human beings. I can have empathy, but like you shouldn't be leading with this. No. Classic Schreier fashion. So he also went on to say Eidos Montreal, which remains intact, canceled the Stranger Things inspired Kids on Bikes game that was rumored recently. They're now working on a new IP, recently rescoped. So they downsized their new IP a little bit, he said. A new Deus Ex, which is very, very early. We heard them come out and talk about that right after the Embracer purchase. They talked about bringing back Deus Ex and doing what Cyberpunk 2077 didn't do, which was very interesting because then you're talking about a gigantic game. A huge game. But I love Deus Ex, love the world, so I'm all for it. And then said, once again, co-dev partnerships, plural, with Xbox, including Fable. So, obviously, the other stuff, it's cool. Some of it's sad with the studio close and all that stuff. But here we have another studio, and it's a brother and sister studio in Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal, which we all talked about here prior to the ABK deal. After we found out that Crystal Dynamics was working on Perfect Dark, that isn't it obvious that Square Enix doesn't want these? Why is Xbox not stepping up to play? Xbox has got to be interested in this. The Tomb Raider IP, the Deus Ex, Legacy of Kain, over 50 IPs sitting there. Xbox has to be interested, right? Just made way too much sense. They're contracting out these people. Well, then, of course, the ABK deal comes along. Everything's put on hold for Xbox. And all of a sudden, Embracer Group steps in, gets a fire sale price in a seller's market. This is a seller's market. People don't realize it. This isn't like 5 years ago. This is now a seller's market. Premium prices being paid for talent and IP. They get a deal.
Pennies on the dollar, man.
$300 million for both studios, all the talent and all the IP. They could walk in and get this crew. And of course, there was a lot of people, us, that obviously are big fans of Xbox, that love what they're doing, the growth, that were pretty sad about this. But now it's interesting. We've got the sister studio to Crystal Dynamics also working on Xbox. And according to Jason Schreier, not just one game, multiple games they're contracted for Xbox. And on top of that, their next biggest IP that they're trying to reboot, along with Perfect Dark, in Fable, which is obviously being made by Playground. We've got an interesting scenario here. And of course, we're going to go to our guest guy, Jasper here, the kid sweaty, and see what he has to think here. But Jasper, a couple different angles I want to take that I want to get your opinion on. Number one, the community got in a hubbub again. The circus showed up yet again, trying to claim that this was another sign that Xbox is in trouble, that they can't manage their studios. Why would a AAA team like Playground need another AAA studio to help them? What is going on? How messed up is Xbox over there? Why can't they hire regular support studios like Sony? Why do they have to go out and get a AAA team? Why do they have to go do that? There must be problems. Does this in any way concern you, Jasper, that Xbox has brought in a AAA team to help Playground, another big AAA studio, obviously, masters at open world racing, car PGs, if you will, but never done an actual, Western RPG classic style. Does this worry you, Jasper, or is this something to be celebrated, number one? And number two, and this will be other questions for you guys as well, so make sure you keep this in mind. Number two, Jasper, we've heard some smoke. Shout out to Slow Mo Backslap, great member of this community. He's the first one that vocalized it that anybody is aware of on a podcast. I think we all kind of maybe thought about it at the back of our skulls, but it was early, right after the announcement, and he happened to be on Iron Lord's podcast, and he produced the the conspiracy theory. Let's just say conspiracy theory that Embracer Group did Microsoft a solid here. That they went and got Crystal Dynamics and in Eidos Montreal while Microsoft is tied up with ABK and just kind of parked them in their garage. Embracer's kind of a storage unit for Microsoft right now until they get done with the ABK deal. And after it's all said and done, Xbox, now that we know multiple teams, multiple games under contract, Microsoft is going to come back to Embracer Group and pick those teams up when the ABK deal is done. So, number one, do you think there's something to worry about here? Number two, do you think there is anything to the conspiracy theory of the smoke that eventually Microsoft Xbox winds up with these two amazing teams anyways at the end of the day?
So for the support studio question, I would say for whoever is worried about that, does not understand gaming industry whatsoever.
Thank you.
If you just look at like any game ever, like the big publisher or the big developer, I should say, on the game is like, let's say Call of Duty, for example, is like Infinity Ward this year, but they have 9 other studios as support studios making that game. So it's quite normal to have support studios help develop a AAA game. Xbox has even reached out before with Master Chief Collection. There was like 9 studios that helped make that. Saber Interactive, which is now an Embracer Studio, was on that. Halo Wars 2, THQ, I think, helped on that. So Xbox has used support studios in the past, so it's quite normal. Whoever's complaining about that just doesn't understand it, and circus clown show, as Pong likes to say. And then going on to your conspiracy theory, it makes financial sense for like Embracer to own that because they got it for cheap for $300 million, so they can just sell it if they want to. Like to Microsoft, who's going to be the higher bidder, like eventually, maybe. But I think that may be reading into the conspiracy theory too much. I think that Embracer is just going to use them as a support studio right now because Eidos couldn't continue the current game they were working on, whether that was a Square Enix IP or Square Enix licensed out like maybe a Marvel IP or a Star Wars IP for them to make. So they can't continue that anymore because that was under Square Enix's deal. So Embracer's got to figure out where to put Eidos in their new company. So right now they're just making them have a support studio so they can keep getting some income, but they don't have to risk building a AAA $500 million budget game like overnight and be like, well, I guess we're just going to sit on the studio for 6 years while we try to figure out what to do with it. So right now they're just going to use them to get some income and return on investment. And then eventually they'll be able to make their own IPs like Deus Ex again and stuff like that. That's kind of where I'm at.
All right. Fair enough. I would rather conspiracy theory be true, but that's okay. If it's not, that's okay. It's okay, Jasper. I appreciate that. Good thoughts as always, sir. Thank you for that. PTK.
Yes, sir.
PTK. Let's get to you here, sir. So I think you understand the two questions here.
Yeah.
Something else to keep in mind for everybody out there. We don't know what Embracer Group. Well, we do. We have a good idea of what Lars's mentality is, right? We've gotten a great interview from him. We've heard him multiple times. Again, one of my favorite CEOs in the industry, as far as his thought process goes and what he's trying to do in protecting the history of the IP and bringing back old IP that have been dormant for years and years. But the one thing we don't know is how risk averse they are. We don't know if they're willing to have some of these studios like a Crystal Dynamics or a Eidos Montreal make a AAA game, spend that 80 million, 100 million, 150 million on a AAA game. Obviously, we know Crystal Dynamics is in the process of starting up a new Tomb Raider. That's going to be a big AAA game. Eidos Montreal is starting up a Deus Ex, and if their tweets that they, or their, the interview that they gave are anything to, hang our hat on, then we know that Deus Ex is probably going to be a huge AAA game this time around. And we don't know if Embracer's willing to take that risk on, because that is a big risk in this day and age. It's not the old days where, you could get by with a AAA game at 20 million and call it a day. Now you got to invest that upfront money and then hope the sales return. So that's something to keep in mind when you think about the conspiracy theory. But for you, again, number one, is having Eidos Montreal help out with Fable a red flag in your eyes? Or should we be launching fireworks off saying this is freaking fantastic? This is amazing. And number two, what is your thoughts on the conspiracy theory, even if it's different, from how I put it out there, that, this is kind of a gentleman's agreement. Maybe there's no agreement, but maybe Embracer Lars and his team saw a opportunity to pick up a couple studios on the cheap that they knew somebody else had their eye on, and that maybe they could flip them later on. So what are your thoughts on those two, sir?
I'm, just Jasper, for one, you hit the nail on the head with the first question, right? It's not hard. We can just do a quick Google search. We all have phones. I'm sure we all have laptops. It's not difficult. 26 studios work on Call of Duty every year. Like, come on, what are we talking about here? So it's never a bad thing. And I'm going to make this analogy. If I'm a construction worker and I'm contracting out and I need somebody to do quality work, I got my own team.
I'm laughing because this is the same analogy I made with my.
Shit. Okay,
I said no. Go
right now.
Go because we're on the same wavelength. Okay. I gotta laugh though because Mav is in construction, right?
Yeah,
and so I made this exact analogy on PM and the PM. So go ahead.
You did for real? You did
for real. I did.
Okay, so I mean, it's all about quality, right? You want to get a top tier quality across the board. And this is not the first time, devs go out and get that top tier quality. On top of the fact that you alluded to earlier, they've never made this kind of game. They've made car PGs. That is it. And they've been support for, I believe they've helped with Forza Motorsports to a small degree as well on a couple things there. But other than that, it's all been just Forza Horizon. That is it. So logically, if I don't have that experience, I need to find people who do to help me and show me what I need to do. You know what I mean? Like, I need that quality to be there. So I'm going to contract out. I'm going to go find these available teams who have the experience making these type of games, or, maybe they're particular individuals at these other support studios who are really good at doing specific things. So that's a non-issue at all. So like I said, I agree 100% with Jasper. This happens with tons of games. A lot of times it's not public either. So that's another thing too, Pong. A lot of times we don't hear about it. You know what I mean? So most times it's not. Yeah. So it happens way more than you guys would think. Once again, go do Google searches on a lot of the favorite video games you play. You're gonna see 3-4 studio gets credit in the on the Wikipedia. And you're like, well, why I didn't realize that? So it happens very often. Now, as far as the second question that you asked, just in regards to is Embracer kind of holding on to these studios?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, on top of what Jason said about, them getting rid of, cutting off that one particular studio. Was it Anoma or Anoma studio? Yeah. They kind of shedding some dead weight there, getting rid of that, trimming it down to a more specific, team. They could do it. Like you said, they bought them pennies on a dollar. They got a phenomenal deal. And like you said, Xbox is 99% of the time is going to be able to give you the most cash for it.
Absolutely.
And there's already established business relationship. That's the key thing, I think. Because you have that, nothing else matters. I mean, don't get me wrong. Xbox can walk in a lot of places and just drop down a check and they'll get what they want. But generally they don't do things like that. So they already have established relationship with these two dev teams on top of Embracer. And Embracer, if you don't know anything about them, they are more than open. They're not trying to hold anything hostage. Like you said earlier, the CEO, Lars, he's like, look, we're just trying to get these games out. We're trying to get these, some of these older titles that's just been sitting on ice. Like, they're very open to doing all types of things. So I don't think it's out of the realm. Now, do I think it will actually happen? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we know that this ABK deal put a lot of shit on hold, and that's absolutely come out and been factual. We've heard from multiple different sources that, there were talks and negotiation, and all that shit kind of had to get put on hold. So maybe this was one of them, because I think CD's been working on Perfect Dark for a few years now, right? Since the beginning, right?
No, not since the beginning. Well, we don't know for sure. We got the announcement last year, right? So it was last summer or something like that, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Yeah, somewhere around there. So they've been on it for a while, yes.
Yeah, it's been, I'd say at least a year and a half, maybe two, possibly. So there's already a established relationship there on top of the whole Tomb Raider deal. The Xbox had Tomb Raider exclusive for a period of time, so there's already there's a lot of bridges to connect, Pong, so it wouldn't be out of the realm when you really think about it. Do I think that it'll happen? I don't know. We still in speculation town. I want it to happen for sure. Like, absolutely. I'm with you, Pong. We need that. Give them a check. Go ahead and bring it over here to the first party. We need that to happen. But I don't know. I'd say I'm probably, I don't know, 40% like in on that. So that's where I'm kind of sitting on that particular part of the question.
If Embracer's hurting for money, I think they kind of they kind of sell those off first, maybe to Xbox for like maybe like $1 billion or something.
Yeah. No, I mean they could, Jasper, and I think Phil would pay it. See, Phil, if this is a gentleman's agreement or not, if it's just something that again Embracer took in an opportunity, seeing Microsoft's hands tied, went to Square, saw the price, and was like, yeah, we can turn a profit on this. Like, this is a good deal. And even if Microsoft doesn't want to, we got two classic teams here with IP, right?
How many times does that happen, though, that a company's bought a dev has bought, a publisher's bought a dev or whatever? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've bought and then sold it off after. Has that happened very often?
I don't know. I mean, again, I can't think of one.
I mean, I don't think there's enough like people out there to just like spend 500 million.
That's true as well. That's a good point.
We're in new territory, right, PTK? We're in new territory here with acquisition season, and with what's happening in this industry, we haven't seen anything like this. Having the industry in a healthy position this big and seeing this, acquisitions go down like this. This is new territory. This is
one thing to
really
flip like sneakers, like just go to a garage shop, buy sneakers, and then flip them for like $100. But it's another thing to flip
a whole developer, right? It's crazy. So essentially, you're saying it's like a hockey assist to Xbox. Essentially, Embracer's kind of being the middleman, but not really the middleman. We know what's going on. Like we know we bought them to essentially, sell them off. I mean, it's not. If there's the biggest thing for me, and the only thing really, holding me off from saying, this is not possible, is the relationship's already established. They already, and like you said, he said it sounds like it's plural. Games
plural.
So we got to make sure. I'm not a big Schreier guy. I'm not blocked either. I don't know how that didn't happen, but I know, right? He's blocking me as we speak, but. Ultimately, like the relationship's there. See, that's the biggest thing for me that kind of holds me off from saying no, this is not going to happen.
Right. And I think that the potential is just there. It makes sense on so many levels, right? And again, of course, the easiest answer is usually the right one. So Embracer Group just saw a deal. They picked them up. They're going to use them like this. They're going to have them make their games, but they're also going to contract them out when they can. And they're just going to, rake in the money off their investment. Yeah. Like that, right? So that's certainly a possibility. They could be offsetting the risks involved with both of those studios, AAA future projects in Tomb Raider and Deus Ex by contracting out portions of the team, because that, then you can say at the end of the line, if you're looking at them as individual companies, hey, they brought in this money and they spent this much money on making their own project, and it kind of lessens that risk at the end of the day when you look at the bottom line. So I think that that's a potential too. I just think there's way too many dots connecting here. But Fuzzy, bring it home, brother. Bring it home. So again, just keep in mind, when we're looking at what Embracer did here, again, we don't know exactly what Embracer's end goal is. We've got an idea, but the way that they're collecting studios like Pokemon at this point, they like literally out here throwing Pokeballs everywhere and gobbling up these Pokemon. What do you think? What do you think is the end goal here? Do you think they are looking to flip it? And obviously the first question again, do you see any warning signs? Is this a red flag that Playground needs help from a AAA studio?
Well, I'll start with the first question again. And you guys pretty much all nailed it as far as it not being a red flag. I mean, if you play games and you see the splash screens in the beginning, or you finish the game and see the credits, you see all the other studios in a lot of cases that work on games. It's nothing new. It's been for as long as I've been gaming on PC, I've noticed it. And that's what, 97, 98. So it's nothing new. And I'm pretty sure there were, multiple teams working on stuff, prior to that even, but I just remember the old Papyrus and Sierra days, and, teams like Relic and all that were, working on games together. So yeah, it's nothing new. Is it a red flag? No. I mean, typically a red flag is when you see the studios closing, while a game constantly gets delayed, or or something along those lines, or after the game gets released, the studio closes, that's kind of a red flag. But then again, it all depends on how well the game was received. And that's why, some are a little bit more risk adverse and so forth. But, onto the, end game, I guess you could say, for, Embracer. I'm kind of torn between the two ideals. Like, Lars seems like a smart dude. So he is a smart dude. So it's one of those things where he could see the opportunity, whether it be Microsoft that winds up being the end purchaser, or someone else for that matter. He saw that it's 300 mil, which it's almost like an Insomniac level deal, even though it may be not as necessarily as the same type of the titles, but I would say it's a steal. And knowing that it's a steal, you could always either have that studio with the IPs make that money back, or flip it after a certain amount of years. But knowing that Lars and Phil, seem like they're I wouldn't say necessarily friends, but at least have a mutual goal as far as when it comes to gaming, and work well together. And they've had numerous deals or partnerships, whether it be some of their games in Game Pass or other working relationships throughout. I would say it wouldn't be too far of a stretch to be like, hey, you see what we're kind of dealing with, and you know that, because a lot of people in the industry will know when there's other teams working or companies looking to buy or purchase. Usually the word goes out pretty quick, even though it's not like widespread where everybody knows, but the higher ups typically know, or higher ups of other upper level studios or publishers will know what's going on because they talk. So it's quite possible that they could have had a conversation like, hey, we're going to have to hold off on buying them, but man, that's a lot of talent over there. It's one of those things where, which we could do both of them, but trying to do this would probably cancel out the other. And Lars is like, hey, we could use a AAA studio for a little bit, and get some of these teams that we have, working on something that we can kind of grow our brand, and something that we can either work out a deal for Game Pass, whatnot, and could always sell them back to you, like almost like a holding company or something along those lines.
Right, exactly.
And that could that's there is a possibility. I know a lot of people are like, oh, collusion, and you can't really do that in business, but there is also a thing against insider trading. We all know that happens. So.
Yeah. Look at our government. Look at our government. Yeah.
Exactly. So I would say it's not out of the realm of possibility. We'll just leave it at that. And it probably, Phil and Lars are probably listening to these podcasts laughing like, man, yeah, hopefully we didn't make it too obvious. Is this too obvious for the regulatory bodies type of thing? But whatever the case may be, if those teams eventually do come to Xbox or Microsoft,
games developing holding account.
But if those teams eventually come to Microsoft and Xbox, it would be awesome. But if not, Embracer definitely got an awesome deal, and with a reboot to Tomb Raider and Deus Ex, you can't go wrong. I would say we're going to be in for a good situation either way you look at it. And with them working on Fable and other games, I'm curious what these other games are now, or are these even games that have been announced? Like, could they be helping out with what was Rare's game again that had to be rebooted? Everwild. Could they be working on Everwild to kind of get that up to speed and stuff, or could they be working on something totally that no one's even come up with a code name for yet? So
I guess Compulsion.
Compulsion?
Being a smaller team, doing their first AAA project that they've ever done, trying to grow that team, I could definitely see Eidos stepping in there and helping that squad.
Yeah.
Great points, Fuzzy. Appreciate it. I'll put a bow on it here and wrap it up with my complete thoughts real quick, and then I'll pass it back to you, PTK. This was very interesting to me. This is fascinating. This is why I love this industry so much right now. Like, you can't get this type of stuff anywhere else. It's crazy what's going on. But Number one, as far as the red flags are concerned, absolutely not. This is to be celebrated. I know that there's people out there that, part of this comes from jealousy, the fact that their favorite piece of plastic can't go out and make these kind of deals with AAA teams and contract them to help out. In a way, this proves how important that both Perfect Dark and Fable are to Microsoft and how serious they're taking both of these reboots, that they are going the extra mile. And right now in this industry, and it's not just IDOS Montreal and not just Crystal Dynamics, both the Initiative and, of course, Playground have been bringing in some of the best and brightest talent from around the industry as individuals, right? We see this because it's a group, because it's a studio, it's a part of a studio. But they've been bringing in individuals to help out both of these games nonstop. And right now in this industry, the number one resource that's in demand outside of time is talent. You can't get enough talent in this industry right now. So now an opportunity arises that two development houses in Crystal Dynamics and IDOS Montreal, who have developed their own AAA games, who have proven themselves, veteran teams, are on the free agent market and available to be contracted. And Microsoft has the bankroll to say, you know what, we're rebooting two important IP. We can't miss with these two IPs. We're not going to sit back. We are going to go get some of the best and brightest talent in this industry to work on these games, to help to co-develop with our in-house studios. That says it all to me, and this should be celebrated. This is something that's special that we don't see often.
I don't understand the opposite energy. Don't we all want the games to be in the best possible shape? Like,
but PTK, Sony studios are so good, they don't need big other studios. They go get the usual support help. Sure, they might go get 10, 12, 14 of them, but it's just the small, normal support studios. They don't go get other AAA studios to co-develop because they don't need it. They got so much talent. That's where it comes from, PTK. It's crazy. It's crazy talk. It really is. And I don't agree with it. I think this really says how serious Microsoft is, that they're going the extra mile here. So that's my number one answer. This is exciting. This means these games are going to come out sooner. This means that these games are going to come out more polished. This means that a team like Playground, who has never made a Western RPG, love Playground. They set a goal for themselves to be one of the best dev houses in the world. They've already proven that with Forza Horizon and the car PGs. Now they're doing something completely outside their wheelhouse, which I love. But they've got to learn. They've got to learn all the mechanics, the RPG mechanics, just simple animations, all that stuff that they didn't have to do with a car PG. Now they have to learn. Well, now they got help, and they are going to be on their way to becoming that one of the best dev houses in the world if they launch Fable, and it is the success that we all think it could be. So I'm happy for this. This is exciting. As far as the conspiracy stuff goes, I believe there's a lot of smoke here. There's a couple different things here. Daryl Gallagher is ahead of the Initiative now. We had a lot of big free agents come in, had a lot of big free agents leave the Initiative, didn't quite wind up being what we originally thought it was going to be or what it was sold as. That's okay. That happens. The industry ever changing, whatever. The fact now that Daryl Gallagher is the head of Initiative still. Crystal Dynamics is his old team. He knows that dev team inside and out. That's why it made all the sense in the world they brought them in to work on Perfect Dark. Of course, the Initiative going forward, it's not going to be the Perfect Dark. That's it. They close up shop. We made Perfect Dark. That's it. It's over with. No, they're going to continue on. And if everything goes well, they're going to want to make a Perfect Dark 2. Are you going to want to have to bring in a whole brand new team to work on Perfect Dark 2 again? No, you're not. You're going to want that same team that made the first one successful to be there. You want that continuity. That's another important part of this industry. So yes, that makes a lot of sense. Number two, the relationship that everybody kind of mentioned here with Embracer Group, huge. Lars and Phil mind share on philosophies of the industry in a lot of ways. They might be coming at it from two different angles, from two different positions within the industry, but they have that mind share. There's a lot to like between those two. I want to see those two sit down and interview at some point. I think it would be fascinating to hear those two go back and forth about this industry. But anyways, they share that philosophy. The fact is that Phil and Microsoft will overpay to bring those two teams in to create that continuity. If it is in fact true that Eidos Montreal is also working on multiple games for Xbox, you're going to want to keep that continuity for whoever they're helping. So you bring that talent in-house so that it's available for you. Deus Ex is a huge IP. Imagine what they could do with the nearly unlimited resources behind them of Microsoft. But the bigger one is Tomb Raider. Phil loves Tomb Raider.
Yeah, man.
He has always wanted Xbox to have a Tomb Raider. The last big exclusive deal they did for a known licensed IP was Tomb Raider, the one that they got all the flack for, the one that they got all the backlash for back in the day. That was one of the last ones. Why did he do that? Because he loves Lara. He loves Tomb Raider. He will go get this IP if it's available from Embracer Group. And the big thing to think about here, folks, is when it comes to Embracer Group, sure, they're going to be flipping it for a profit for both of these teams and for the IP. But with the relationship that they have, of course, Microsoft is going to want to control the IP. We know that. So they're going to ask for the gaming side. But Lars is not just interested in gaming. Embracer is not just about gaming. They're about transmedia IP. And we're hearing that word more and more. You're going to hear it more and more. You've heard us talk about it here. Transmedia IP is IP that isn't just exclusive to one form of entertainment or content. It can go across all. Tomb Raider can be a movie. Tomb Raider can be a TV series. Tomb Raider can be a comic book. Tomb Raider can be a novel. Tomb Raider can be a video game. The fact is that the deal gets even sweeter because Microsoft and Xbox still have not decided. We've not seen a sign that they're going to jump into the entertainment industry as a whole with first-party stuff yet. We haven't seen them make any moves to, get a movie studio again or TV studio. We haven't seen that yet. So Phil can go to Lars and say, Lars, listen, I'm going to triple your investment of what you just got Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal for. We want the gaming side of the IP, obviously. But that other media stuff, guess what? We're going to give you the rights. And we're going to take a less percentage. We're going to give you the rights. You go do what you want to with Tomb Raider, with Deus Ex. You want to make it into novels. You want to make it into graphic novel. You want to go get a Netflix deal for Tomb Raider. You go do that. And we're going to cut you a sweet deal. We're not going to ask for a whole big piece of that pie. You keep those rights on your side. That makes the deal even sweeter between both parties and good relationships like this. That's where I think it really winds up making a whole lot of sense. And I think at the end of the day, ABK deal goes through. I think a year from the ABK deal, we hear about Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal finishing up. I think they might wait until development of Perfect Dark and Fable start to get close towards the end. Those relationships are now established. They see how other teams.
Hello?
Uh-oh. Did we lose the mic? Okay, we might have lost the mic. This has been happening in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So chat,
JR DualSense.
Yeah, JR DualSense.
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you
yes.
are.
It blipped for a minute. Okay. So what I was saying, ABK deal goes through about a year later or close to the end of the development cycle for Perfect Dark and for Fable. To get close to the end of the development cycle, I think that's when you hear the deal go through. So I think that's it.
Absolutely. And I agree 100%, man. This is a lot of different ways. And we're going to keep an eye on this. I got the co-mayor, of Speculation Town. So we'll definitely keep an eye on this as time goes forward. So shout out to you, Pong, for bringing up that topic, man. Definitely a big one that happened recently. And we'll get more into that as time goes on. So I think that'll get a little more interesting. So Pong, man, we're going to, not Pong, but Fuzz, lead us into the next topic, brother.
All right. So I'm going to go with something a little bit more, I won't say lighthearted, but it's something that I'm more excited about, at least at the current moment. It was something that Iloslav posted not too long ago that he's been able to see on his actual Xbox console is the update for the family plan. It, I guess, is either expanding to additional regions or it's opening up to more of the insider rings, where now you'll be able to sign up for it, add members to like whatever the parent account would be, and it has some small caveats where the other members, although I guess we don't have all of the details just yet as far as it seems like you can have some of the members added to the parent account. Their existing stuff rolls into the parent account, and then others suggest, or at least Xbox themselves suggests, either let the those being added let their Game Pass or other subscriptions expire, or have them cancel them, so that way, probably so it doesn't really, add up for the parent account and they can collect more. But in the grand scheme of things, the family plan seems like it's getting closer and closer to full public release, and the holidays being right around the corner. It looks like, I guess, the pricing was shown in pounds, and
I think it's euros.
Oh, euros. Okay.
Yeah,
and
whatever.
it's pretty close to what was shown for the original two regions, or at least I think it was for Ireland that was shown before, where it was believed it would translate to about $25 US, give or take. But in euros, it's showing $21.99 for the Game Pass Friends and Family. And then the pricing for Game Pass Ultimate's $12.99 a month, and then $9.90 a month for the console version of Game Pass. Now, with this being spread to more regions, holidays, only a matter of weeks away. What are your guys' thoughts on when, I guess, Xbox themselves will finally announce this to public? We'll start off with you, Jasper. Do you think this is going to be something that we hear about or can sign up for before Black Friday, or is it a little bit after Black Friday?
I think if it was going to be Black Friday, I think we would probably have a blog post about it by now. So I'm kind of thinking we don't even hear about this for like maybe US market or like actual official release until probably early next year at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Just because if Idle Sloth guided, I'm kind of wondering if he's in Ireland, because maybe they just started expanding the test ring in Ireland for family and friends Game Pass, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they expanded it more to people in Ireland, because they used euros there. So kind of wonder if he just got it now. And also I'm wondering if the price is like, since euros is currently like pretty much on par with the dollar, and usually companies charge like more euros. So like, is it going to be $20 and not actually $25? That's where I'm kind of like wondering if they're going to actually adjust the price there for euros. Because we saw with PlayStation VR, they didn't adjust euro price, but Xbox usually adjusts euro price for people. So I'm kind of like just trying to figure out what the price is actually going to be.
And we have that looming interview with the mentioning of possibly raising some stuff at some point, not being specific whether it be consoles or subscriptions or game prices, but I know there's some people that were giving flack about, well, why are they showing this price if they're going to go up months later type of thing. But with it being a test program, obviously they're going to have an introductory price that hopefully will I would say last for however long, at least a year or so after they announce it. But
I mean, it's just so weird that it's 21.99 euros, because that would be like, I think that's like 21.74 or something like that dollars. So it's like, why would you make that $25 American? Like, I don't know, it's just weird.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed that I'm hoping it's 25 or less for US. With that being said,
I would assume it's 20 or 25, but I don't know.
But you're thinking like early next year sometime, maybe not quite January, but possibly like a March or April kind of time frame.
I would say late spring, early summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So just before like make it like a big to do for like an E3 announcement.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I feel like if it was ready to be launched, I think they would be talking about it more instead of just like we're getting leaks of like, oh, this guy has it in closed beta or whatever. This guy's seen it pop up on his dashboard randomly or whatever. So I think like if it was closer to launch, I think they would be talking about it more, and they're not really talking about it.
Yeah. Okay. Good points. Pong, what do you think as far as the timing of when they'll make an announcement? And do you think overall this is something that with the holidays being right around the corner, they should possibly talk about it a little bit sooner.
Yeah, this is curious because I was assuming that we would have heard it by now, right? With the way things were rolling out, but again, you just never know. Like the common sense things that we all think are common sense, like just sometimes just don't happen with these.
Yeah.
It's like, yo,
Yeah.
what do you guys? Like, so again, because we don't have the internal analytics and what they're looking at and all the weird numbers that they probably bring up and try to decide money wise when they're going to take this hit, because make no mistake, this is going to be a hit, right?
Yeah.
As people convert over, sure, their user numbers certainly could go up. That's a potentiality here, and that's probably what they're hoping for with this. Overall, the user number is going to go up, which means there's more people that potentially could purchase things within the ecosystem because they're already included in Game Pass. That's the ultimate hope when you do something like this. But if a lot of those people are converting over from single payer plans into the family plan, well, then they're going to take that hit. And
yeah, I did the math. If you have 5 Game Pass Ultimate members go over to a family plan, Microsoft loses $50. Now you multiply that by millions of people, they lose millions of dollars.
Right, $50 per month, so you're looking at $600 a year. That's a big loss when you multiply it out, right? So they're going to see that hit. So maybe the economics of this makes more sense to let things go as is through the holidays, through all those initial purchases, people signing up for single payer type experiences on their Game Pass subscriptions, that kind of stuff. And then you think about coming it out next year. But in my heart, I still think it comes out this year. I don't know if I don't think it comes out by Black Friday, but I think they get it announced within November. And I think it gets out before Christmas or in time for Christmas when everybody's opening up their gifts and they're signing up initially for, the kids just got their, Series S's with their Modern Warfare 2 bundles, and you're signing them up, and all of a sudden you can sign up. You go in to sign them up, and all of a sudden it pops up, hey, did you hear about our new friends and family plan? If you're already a part of our plan, you can add up to 5 people for for $25 or whatever it winds up being US. I think they could have that out there in the wild by Christmas. I think
that could be their Game Awards announcement.
It could be, but that's not a Game Awards feeling announcement. But you're right, Jasper. Like I said that on PM and the PM2, like maybe, but it's just weird thinking that, or maybe I said it on the split screen this morning. It just sounds weird. Like I don't think that's like a Keeley, hey, Xbox is doing something special these holidays. It just it doesn't fit with what the Game Awards do, but you never know. Maybe they do have something else planned coming up that we don't know about yet. Maybe they're going to do something. Maybe it's just an Xbox Wired kind of announcement. Who knows? But I think they do have it in time for Christmas. I think that's the ultimate plan. I wouldn't be surprised if it's next year, but I still think they find a way to get it out by Christmas.
Okay, nice. Now, with the whole Game Awards, the only way I can really see it, because like you said, it doesn't seem like something would normally be at the Game Awards, is if it's almost like the sponsor. You know how like the one year that I think they were sponsored by Verizon or something like that, or T-Mobile. Maybe they're sponsored by Game Pass for one of the award show or for the entire night. And although at that point it might get annoying that it's like, oh yeah, and this award is brought to you by Game Pass. Friends and family
Sony
plan.
wins God of War wins Game of the Year, brought to you in part by Xbox
Game Pass.
That
would definitely be a different spin on things. But PTK, with a lot of people, or Idle Sloth primarily now having this on this dashboard, it looks like with things expanding out. What are your thoughts as far as their announcement or release for this plan? And with the holidays being around the corner, any thoughts on what you would do as far as when you would make the announcement and so forth?
So as gamers, we always have our own like personal perspective, right? And Pong, we talked about, you just mentioned this with the last topic about like, or actually just what you just said a minute ago, just regarding like the logical things, right? Like in our gamer mind, what makes sense for us.
Yes.
There's so much other shit we do not even take into account. It's not even funny. Like it's not even funny. So it's so difficult to make a prediction on like, because it feels like, it makes perfect sense to drop this right before the holidays. it's a feather in the cap. It's something that people are going to talk about. Moms, dads showing up like, oh man, we gonna get this Xbox, and we'll get Family Pass, all of us. So it seems super obvious, but like you said, the numbers got to make sense ultimately. Now we don't know where Game Pass is at overall. I don't think we've got any like finality type announcements like we're definitely at 35 million or we're at 32 or whatever the case may be. So we don't even have that information. So we don't know how much this will offset the actual numbers. But in saying that, I do think it makes sense. I don't think the VGAs make sense. I think VGAs, we do game stuff at VGAs. We drop games there. To be fair, they did
Xbox
announce the
showed up a
Xbox.
fridge.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, the Series X too, right? That's where we
Yeah.
got the Series X announcement too. So I'm kind of, but ultimately, generally, it's all game related. I do think that they maybe hold off on this. I don't know how fast this is moving either, because you brought up a good point, Jasper. Is Idle in? Is he over there in Ireland?
Yeah, he's in Ireland.
He's in Ireland. So I mean, is it really like expanding? Like I don't know. I mean, is it really? Are they ready to shoot this out to the rest of the world, or even just to Europe? You know what I mean? Is it in Spain and all these other places that are near Ireland? Like, is it? So I don't even know if they feel how far into the actual, how much data they have on top of how far into the actual program that they made it. So I think that it will be better around something like E3, makes more sense regarding like that type of announcement. So ultimately that's where I'm at on it. Now, I mean, I'd love to see it for the holidays, because I mean, I got a family, we all play Xbox, and I'd love to have that available to me and my family, because we literally have been talking about that for the longest. My wife even brings it up. She's like, man, I wish we had some type of family thing where we can all play and access Game Pass all together. That way, we're not buying extra games and things like that. So it makes sense for a consumer like myself that has a family, but we just don't have enough data to know, if that makes sense for them at this current point in time. I don't know. Are they waiting till Game Pass hits a certain number before they decide to drop it?
I kind of wonder, like, when they're looking at their analytics, do they be like, well, in the summer we lose like 5% of our users, so do we announce it for the summer so we try to get those users back,
some of that back?
Or do we launch it like in December when we gain like 5% users? So it's like, I don't know.
Exactly. That's that give and take. You know what I mean? We don't have that data. You know what I mean? So we don't really know, where they're sitting at with that. We know that it's a good thing. We know that the price, and I know you guys mentioned that too about the whole, the whole currency difference as far as, euros versus, dollars and things like that. But we just don't, it's hard to say for sure, because, it makes sense just to drop it in the next, 15 days, the next week or two. But at the same time, if the numbers aren't there and they haven't tweaked it to where they want it, they're probably going to hold off more than likely. And we haven't really got any peeps about it outside of like Idle Sloth and here and there. So I feel like we'd get more information if they were actually gearing up. We'd hear about it showing up in other territories, other places, if it was moving along at this point.
Okay. Good points, everyone, on that. Fingers crossed. I'm still hoping that, like what Pong was saying, that it's before the end of the year. It would be nice, like if they announce it, let's say some point this month, for like just in time for Christmas. But I could see, a potential option of having it where it's like a big announcement, during E3, like with a lot of the games being in Game Pass day and date. Oh, here's an update to the friends and family plan, or Game Pass as a whole, for those looking for the friends and family plan. All of these games today, and 5 members can have access to them day one, $20 a month or $25 a month. Keep your same username or gamer tag and gamer score and everything, and all of you get the perks and benefits type of thing. But I could definitely see that being like a big draw for, like, not necessarily a draw for E3, but a real nice announcement.
Oh yeah, that's a big announcement at E3.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. I mean, for if you have an Xbox and you're so
right. But awesome takes, guys. Greatly appreciate your feedback.
Awesome, man. Great topic. We got a few other quick hitters. Chat. Shout out to everybody watching live, man. We greatly appreciate you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. I did not miss you, Splendiferous. Thank you for the 2 super chats, brother. Let me go back and make sure I read these, man. I don't want to. So you got love what's going on here, Pong. I heard you in my sleep. I think that's when you cut out. So
No, it was before I cut out,
before
but
you cut out, okay.
that's because Splen is in every chat, and he makes his wife listen to Living Split Screen on Saturday mornings while they're driving, and she gets upset. So he's always lurking around.
Look
and
at you
listening
breaking
in,
up happy homes. You and
yeah, I
Stu.
know. I told him not to do that. I told him we're not worth it. But Splen obviously disagrees. So appreciate you, brother. You know that, Splen.
And another $2 super chat. Shout out to you again, Splendiferous. Xbox should also have Sonic bundles as well as COD 4. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, that would be amazing. That would be
amazing.
a rated E game like that for Christmas time. That would be a hell of a bundle.
According to Pong, that's going to happen when they buy Sega.
Yes.
So that's right out.
That's a wrap.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Sonic. We're gonna have Sonic themed Xboxes at that point. So it's a wrap.
Oh yeah. See, that's already, Pong's already put that's set in stone. We're just waiting on the actual announcement at this point.
Yeah, as long as they don't make a furry version of the Series S, like the controller.
Yeah,
we're good.
The fuzzy controller.
They just make the bottom of the Series X red and the top blue, so it looks like Sonic, like little red shoes.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Shout out to all you guys once again watching and listening. You, especially Splendifer, thank you for the 2 super chats, brother. And once again, chat, if you guys do want to do that, that is an available option here at the Shop Podcast. We love you guys just being here listening to us, so we thank you enough for that. But man, we got a couple other quick hitters like I was talking about that I definitely want to get into because I want to get the Pan's opinion as well as you guys in chat. So I want to talk about a little bit about the EA Marvel stuff that happened. They did announce that they have a partnership, and they've had a partnership, but they've officially announced that they're working on a couple games. And I want to get everybody's temperature on that and where we're at. EA kind of goes back and forth, right? It's ebb and flow with them depending on the game that they're making. And we know they haven't been great with licensed stuff. they haven't been great. Shout out to Star Wars. They've had that forever, and it's just now getting good. But we'll see where we're at. We'll see. So I want to ask you first, Jasper, just about that recent information about they've officially announced they're working on a couple other games, other Marvel games as well. Did they specifically say, was it?
Well, here, Grub. I'll give a little bit more here because Grub actually came out with his information.
Grub.
Shout out to Jeff. Grub.
Shout out to Jeff. Yep.
Yeah. So Iron Man, obviously we know about. That's first.
Yep.
That's going to be the first game. Then
Anthem 2, Iron Man.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Sorry.
Hopefully.
Sorry,
But again,
hopefully.
common sense says you should do that, but that's not going to happen.
They're like, we don't need that. We're gonna throw
whole new flight mechanic, whole crazy type of flight mechanic.
They're going to give it to the Plants vs Zombies team.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Whatever you guys do, you can't use the Anthem flight mechanic. Okay, that's it. That's the only. Yeah, no. Watch. So Iron Man first. Then Black Panther, but Grubb said Black Panther probably not before 2025. That'll be the earliest. Then there's a third game that is still to be determined in regard to which character so far off that it could change 100 times. That's a direct quote from Grubb. So, yeah. So that one's way down the road, the third one.
So there's another thing I want to highlight here. Thank you for that as well, Paul, for kind of clearing that all up and giving the actual information. I want to highlight the fact that Marvel is open. They're so open to allowing these other companies to work on these characters and make video games out of them. We just heard the same thing about Lionsgate and John Wick, correct? They're kind of open. They're taking ideas for a John Wick game.
And Disney and Star Wars.
Same way. So that transmedia is what you're talking about, Pong. This is another example. So
it's so valuable now. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jasper, just where you at on this? I mean, like I said, we go back and forth with EA chat. Once again, we know that they haven't been great with licensed stuff. They're getting better. Shout out to Vince Zampella. That's probably the only reason that Fallen Order was any good. But where you at on this, Jasper? You excited for it? Or you like, I don't know about this.
I'm a Marvel fan, so I'm always excited when we get a new Marvel something, whatever that may be. With EA taking it up, it gives me some worries, but at the same time, it's like it could be good. I would just kind of what I want is I kind of want them to avoid the MCU stuff, like the TV, the movie stuff.
Yeah,
like those characters, or I kind of want to just like leave those there. Like, can we use other characters? There's like thousands of characters in Marvel. We don't have to just make Black Panther because there's a Black Panther movie. We don't have to make Iron Man because there's an Iron Man movie. Like, make someone else.
Okay. No, I mean, that's great. There's 1,000 characters to choose from. Like, we don't have a shortage here. Now, once again, I think the whole thing is how is EA going to handle these games, right? Like I said, they don't have a great track record regarding this, but they're getting better. I'm going to give them some credit on the back end. Shout out to Vince once again. They're getting better with this. Fallen Order was a hit. Hopefully the Star Wars game is going to be a hit as well. We'll see. That remains to be seen. But we'll throw this over to you, Pong. Where are you at? Because when I first heard this, I was like, yay, and then I thought about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, quite sure how I feel about this. I want to give EA, credit for doing what they've done, and they've actually kind of changed their philosophy on, how they put games out and
they
allow
just made
studios.
a new Seattle studio, so I wonder if that new Seattle studio could be working on the new
That
Marvel
could be
thing.
it. That could be it. But go ahead, Pong.
Yeah, there's lights going on in the dark house of EA, right? We've seen signs of it. Again, I'm not ready, just like Ubisoft. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to go.
Pong?
I'm not ready to dive.
Not putting a
in.
ring on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not ready to say they've figured it out quite yet. But we have seen some signs from a couple of the big publishers that seem to have been drifting in EA and Ubisoft. So I'm going to be, and again, I'm not a superhero guy, so for me it's like whatever. Right now, here's the difference in this one. This third one out that's so far away that Grubb's talking about, maybe I finally get a proper X-Men game, because X-Men are going to be introduced into, obviously into the Marvel universe at some point, right? So we know that for a fact. So mutants are coming. So maybe I finally get an X-Men game. Like Jasper said, there's thousands of characters. The whole thing is that like an EA is not going to take a big risk. They're going to do something. No,
they're going to do
right.
Yeah.
and obviously the characters that are out there in the movies are safe, right? They're safer, right? There's still a lot of things they could screw up. I still say
Crystal Dynamics.
Yeah, right, exactly. But it did work with Eidos Montreal for Guardians of the Galaxy, right? So there is give and take. But, there's still a lot of risk with a title like Black Panther. As I've said before, EA is going out on a limb on that one. There's a lot. You got to nail it, right? There's not a whole lot of The torches are going to come out, man. The torches are going to be bright if you screw up Black Panther, all right?
Oh, my goodness.
So, I just think that there's a lot of hope here. And, I'm hoping that eventually maybe if they do introduce X-Men and they do it right, again, I don't have a lot of faith in the MCU in that aspect of it, but maybe they will. Maybe they'll draw me back in and I'll have something to look forward to down the line. But I think it's good. I think it's good that licensed IP is coming back. We've talked about this. Licensed IP when we were growing up or when we were young adults was garbage for the most part. You'd get the rare good one, but terrible. Man, for the most part, it was absolutely horrible, right?
The movie game,
three Spider-Man games a year, like all kind of crazy nonsense.
Yeah, right. It's just dumb. Star Wars games, you hit or miss, right? For the most part, miss, but we did have some hits in there. But again, I'm just glad that it's coming back, that we're to this point now with transmedia being considered so valuable, with these places like Disney opening up, the studios and saying, hey, come work with our IP. We want you to work with our IP. And giving the license out to a lot of different places. It's not just EA working on Marvel, right? Obviously, we know that. Insomniac, got Spider-Man. Now they got Wolverine. The opportunity is there that for the people who are in love with this IP, whether it's movies or comics, whatever the case, might actually have a chance at getting a really great game, like a really great game. And I think that's the cool part about this. So I'm happy for all the MCU fans right now that EA is working on this stuff. And I think EA does know they can't mess this stuff up. Now, again, common sense doesn't always work in this industry, but I think EA has figured it out. I think Zampella opened a lot of eyes, and I think they're going to put their best foot forward with these titles. Now, again, if Iron Man shows up without the Anthem flight mechanics, well, then I'm going to say no, EA hasn't figured out shit, and EA is back on the naughty list again, and I don't know what they're doing. But if Iron Man shows up with the Anthem flight mechanics, man, I'll be like, yes, EA, congratulations, you figured it out. So looking forward.
The obvious choice, right?
Yes, correct. So no, I'm happy for it though. I'm happy that this was announced.
Okay, all right. So where are you at on this fuzz? Because once again, like I said, we've all have our own individual relationships with EA, right?
Yeah.
And we and so I want to throw them a bone too. Dead Space, the remake does look phenomenal. I mean, at least from the screenshots we've seen, it looks like it's in.
Yeah, they
and Mass Effect trilogy was fantastic too.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Like they miss a lot on their multiplayer stuff. So if they just do a lot of single player Marvel stuff, it may be better.
That's true. Good point.
Yeah. I'm kind of torn just because there's still that bad blood from, Anthem 2.0 that, kind of got canceled last minute or whatever type of deal. But like you guys have been saying, if they take that flying mechanic and use it for Iron Man, I want to be there day one. But
no, they're gonna have like
there needs
Battlefield
to be
helicopter
that.
mechanics for Iron Man flying. It's like, okay.
Well, there needs to be enough reviews or previews showing that it's like Anthem as far as that flying mechanic, where it feels at least as intuitive, just without that overheat type of deal or whatever. But yeah, if that's the case for Iron Man, I'll be there day one, despite me saying that I'm not going to buy another EA game, short memory, whatever type of deal. But as far as for Black Panther, I'm curious on how they're going to, well, not how, but I'm curious on where they're going to take that story, as far as if it's going to be more in line with like what the movies have now, or with some of the earlier comics type of thing. But it would be cool as long as they don't try and load it up with like loot boxes and stuff like that. Which
Are we sure they're making a Black Panther game? Because I thought that because
Yes.
Didn't it say
What
Black
was it?
Panther in
Well, they said Black Panther, but there's also the other Black Panther and
Amy Hennig,
Captain America.
the Amy Hennig game. So I was wondering if
Right.
people may have been confused with like
No.
thinking that was just the Black Panther game.
No, I
No.
thought this
No,
is a standalone, right?
Okay.
Grubbs confirmed that it's a
This is a
standalone
standalone Black
yeah,
Panther?
It's a
Yeah.
stand-up Black Panther. Yep, for sure.
So with it being a standalone, I'm curious to see what this game is going to turn out. As long as neither that or Iron Man has loot boxes, but once again, if they're single player focused, can't really see that being the case. But EA has done dumber things in the past. But their current track, I would say, for a single player campaign type of game, this should, fingers crossed, should be a good return to form for them, as far as, instead of like you said, some of the misses they've had on multiplayer stuff. So we'll see. But curious to see how it turns out, as long as it's not like the early 2000s of movie titles where it was like almost a guarantee that it was going to be a bad game type of thing. I think we'll be all right.
Awesome. I agree. I'm gonna, like I said, I want to kind of in chat let us know how you guys feel about this whole situation as well. Love to hear you guys chime in about the whole EA Marvel deal and kind of where we're at.
I just
go ahead.
I
Yeah.
was just thinking like amazing idea like they could do for like how like in Mass Effect 3 like there was the multiplayer mode. Like imagine like Iron Man, like there's a side multiplayer mode where you just have a bunch of different like Iron Man suits with like different abilities, and you just like have a horde mode, kind of like the Mass Effect 3 horde mode shit. It's like
That'd be crazy.
Nice.
That'd be crazy. EA's not gonna do that. It's too obvious. It's too obvious. Yeah. But shout out to you, Jasper. EA is a trip, man. But once again, chat, let us know how you guys feel about that. Shout out to General Spartan 27 dropping in here, man. We appreciate all you guys. Hope you guys are having a good time. We're having a ball here as well, man. We got some other stuff that I kind of wanted to go over too, man. Lots of small, well, I don't say small, but kind of quick hitters this week, man. So I want to talk a little bit about this implied Starfield stuff. We were talking about this in our DMs. I wish sometimes you guys could see our DMs, because a lot of stuff we talk about, man, like I don't know. We got the co-mayor in there, so we I wouldn't say it's a reach, but I want to talk a little bit about that too, because we were kind of going back and forth about the release date on Starfield. Like, when does it make sense for them to drop Starfield, especially knowing how stacked February is, how stacked the beginning of the year is. And there's so many other games that don't have release dates coming out next year. So where should Starfield drop? So I kind of want to get you in on this one first, Jasper. In chat, let us know what you guys think about Starfield as well. Are you thinking pre-E3? Does it need to be pre-E3? One, two, if it was after, would that be a bad thing?
Well, last E3 we said we got the in 12 months window. So within that,
that's a good point.
It'd have to be before June. That's the 12-month window. So
yeah.
I don't want them to delay it again, but like they could. I'm still thinking it's probably like a March date. I know Fuzzy was talking about it last night on Xbox Ultimate, where you all were like speculating dates, like this date, the first rocket launched or whatever. So it'd be like a good date to put it out. I'm just, they have to do it before E3. Like, I don't know.
Okay, no, listen, So I feel like, Jasper, let me know if I'm wrong. You're thinking about it from an optics standpoint first, right? Like what like they've already delayed it once. They almost can't do it again. Or is that
I
kind
mean,
of where you're at? Or
I say that, but we got like Halo Infinite where it got delayed. Like, yeah, I guess they could delay it again. Maybe if they're like whatever they have for the holidays doesn't plan out. Like maybe Avowed. Like people are kind of assuming that's going to also come out next year. So maybe that's like not where it should be. So they push that. So then they end up pushing Starfield to be their holiday game because they already have like 5 other games coming out before June. Pretty much, they have like Age of Empires. They have Forza. They have Redfall. So like they already have a pretty stacked first half of the year. So maybe if their later half of the year that they know isn't going to be there, maybe they push Starfield.
yeah. Okay, I mean, I've always thought, you know what? I've always kind of like, I wasn't set on like before E3. Now, you did make a great point regarding the 12-month window. They made sure to emphasize we're talking about shit that's coming in the next 12 months. So if we're sticking to what they said before E3 makes sense. Prior to them saying that, I was thinking, and shout out to Matt, he just said it in chat. I was thinking late summer. It's initially what I thought. Maybe I don't know, July, August, like I don't know, something in between the holiday and the first 3-4 month rush.
It would be weird to put it out. I feel like in July though, because like you usually don't get like a big AAA game. You get like some AAA games, but they're not like big like Call of Duty or
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you get like just small stuff like Saints Row. Like it's still a AAA game, but it's not like the biggest game,
Good point.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be traditional. Once again, chat, let us know how you guys feel about this. It wouldn't be a traditional Reese, but 2023 isn't going to be a traditional year either. So, I mean, I don't know where to go with this, Jasper. But great point. Great point. I just wanted to bounce that off you a little bit just to kind of see where you were at. So we'll throw this over to you, Pong. And Pong, listen. Pong he has a vested interest in this topic. So everybody settle down. Go ahead, Pong.
I've been hearing way too much of this nonsense.
Oh, see, here we go. See,
listen,
Jasper, prepare for it, buddy.
Oh, I mean,
no, even no. Even Scalzi, who knows Bethesda inside and out. Shout out to Scalzi, great member of this community, does great videos, knows Bethesda, has contacts within Bethesda, and is very knowledgeable. He's even starting to say that it would make sense to him if they delayed it again to November. The history with Bethesda big game, especially Todd Howard games, are the fall, and always in that window time frame. And so it wouldn't surprise him if they delay it again. Look, I'm going by. Listen, there's a lot of desire here, so I'm not going to say.
Yeah, it's hard to drop your like bias.
It's hard to drop my bias, but let me say this: we had a date that we'd literally be getting Starfield next week. This is killing me right now. Okay, so we'd had a date that Todd said was written in pen, not pencil. Okay, and normally Todd doesn't make those types of statements unless he's for sure, and that date was 11/11. The fact that they delayed it and said another 12 months, and Todd came out and said that they're already in the polishing phase, tells me that Starfield is not getting delayed again unless there's something big that happens. I think you take any other game other than Listen, I know why it makes sense to move it.
They
and
could
I
be
know
afraid
why,
of a cyberpunk situation too.
Correct, but I don't think we're at that point, Jasper. Now that they took the initial hit by first of all Todd saying no, it's coming 11/11/22. It's in pen, not pencil, and then showing up in June, showing it off and saying, well, we're delaying it, but it's going to be within the 12-month window. I think that the fact that they said that they're already in the polishing phase, they've got plenty of time. They've got a huge team on this. This is all hands on deck for this game. I think they get it polished. I think it comes out. I think it is an early summer surprise. I think it is May at the latest. The way things are kind of lining up now, I could see Forza getting pushed. I could see Forza being pushed until September, October, and that being your fall game out of spring. Because again, Forza team themselves said they're not going to be in the polishing phase until when, Fuzzy? January?
Yeah, January, February, yeah.
Right, January, February. I see that getting pushed. And I see that being your big fall game if you don't have a Hellblade 2 or Avowed. I think Forza shows up once again in the fall. But I think a Redfall is spring, around that March area. And then I see Starfield following it up in May. I think the end of May has always been. I'd love for them to come out and say, and Jez hinted that he had heard the softest of whispers of a surprise date for Starfield, but then he clarified, when he got Sloth on Xbox 2, he did say it's probably not even a thing. It's just the smallest of whispers. 3/23/23 makes a ton of sense for Starfield as well, as far as dates go, from what Todd likes. But 5/23/23 makes a lot of sense as well. Obviously, if you add 2 3s, it makes 5, so it's 5/5/5. That would be a cool date. It's a Tuesday. It's right before Memorial Day weekend, and of course everybody says, but everybody goes out of town, but that not for gamers. A lot of people still game over the holidays. It would be a great long weekend for everybody to have. Starfield launch that week. All that kind of stuff play here. What were you gonna say, Jess?
I was gonna say, do you think that Xbox may have forced Bethesda into putting an 11/11 date?
No.
Instead of
No.
Todd
Calls his shots. Todd calls his shots.
Yeah.
The only thing I will say, Jasper, is if you do fall in line with the conspiracy theory, and I think it is a plausible conspiracy theory, that they may have actually told Arcane and Bethesda, look, you're getting some more time to polish, because this ABK deal, we're not launching anything big right now. And as crazy as that sounds, I think it is plausible with how quiet they've been through this ABK deal, with how much in public and behind the scenes to, the paperwork we've seen. They are playing there again. Sony and Xbox are in this race to be the biggest victims, to be the weakest link in all of this. Like, literally they are. In the documents, they're both proclaiming, Sony's like, we can't survive without Call of Duty, and Xbox is over here like, yeah, Game Pass is no big deal, and like it's not that performing well. Phil's out here, it's only going to be 15% of our total revenue at any given point, right? It's this race to be the weakest link. So I'm more in that conspiracy camp that maybe they wanted to be ultra quiet, and they just said to both those teams, which I'm sure both those teams were welcoming, like, hey, you guys got another, you got another 8-12 months of polishing. Go for it. Make these games the best they can ever be. And that's the only thing I think that may have happened, is like Phil rolled up on Todd and said, look, Todd, know you were calling your shot, but we're going to have to pull that shot back. We're going to have to pull that shot back and push it. Give your team some more time. There's a lot of things that you guys, you're known as Bugthesda, Todd. Clean some of that up, right? Clean some of that up. Take some more time and get it right. So I think it still gets pushed out. I think it's still ready this summer, early summer, even if it is out of the norm for a Bethesda title. I still think it makes a lot of sense in a lot of ways. You head into E3 with another generational type Bethesda game just launching a couple weeks prior to E3. Everybody's raving about it. It comes out and scores the usual 90s that a Bethesda title does. Everybody's praising it like, oh my God, this is the game you got to play. And you roll up into E3 ready to rock and roll with ABK behind you now.
Right after closing that deal,
listen, you close that deal in March. Diablo 4 now is sounding like it's going to come out in April. You get that announced for Game Pass. Then you just had Redfall drop. You roll out with Diablo 4 and Game Pass. Then you have Starfield in May drop in there. You're coming into E3 with the biggest fire behind you've ever seen in your life. I think that would be cool. So
I don't know if Xbox has ever rode in an E3 with the I don't know if they've ever rode any with, if that is, now once again we're just but
speculation town.
Right. So but that's like momentum unlike we've ever seen
anything.
Dude.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I mean, did we watch the Connectimo stream? Like
that was a big deal. You're right. That was a big deal. But no, it's so I guess the underlying question would be, and I know you have like, this is not even like at you at all, Pong, because I don't think you have any doubts at all regarding the game state. Now, you, Fuzz, and you, Jasper, are you guys like the game? You guys feel like the game is done? Do you guys feel like the game is finished? They're just like they're good. Like everything's good. Yeah,
I think the only thing that they're really doing now is like they've probably gone through so much Q&A. Like they're already having people that are behind the scenes doing like playthrough number 3 and making sure, some of the usual things that pop up, like inventory management things, don't become an issue. Just polished. I think they're, to be honest, I honestly think the game would have been ready shortly after E3, like within well, not shortly after, but like I think the game is ready to be released like next week. It's just a matter of they're going to put, since they've already announced that they can push it. I think that's what they'll do instead of releasing it on its original release date.
Okay.
I would say like maybe they could, if they have like an extra like 9 to 12 months to work on it, like maybe there was something that they were like about to cut that they could add, like maybe there was like an oxygen mechanic or something that's like
there's always features like that with Bethesda titles. Jasper, you're absolutely 100%.
So that's where I'm like, well, since they see that they have another 12-month window, they're like, we can get this mechanic in like 3 months of work, and it's like, so I think there's a potential there that we can get this game to be even bigger than it would be. So that's kind of where I'm like at.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, it's just, Starfield obviously is that, that's going to be the big title next year. I mean, outside of, what Sony and Nintendo does, obviously there's going to be a lot of huge games, and 2023 is stacked, and we'll get into that. It's probably that's a great segue actually, because I want to talk a little bit about the year in general. Now, this year is kind of closing out. Like we're this 11/5, so we got a month and a half until 2022 is pretty much over. So 2023 is looking like it's going to be a banner year for all, the big three. You can even throw PC in there as well, Steam, all of that stuff as well. So I kind of want to start with you on this one, Jasper. All right. So this is kind of a just left field thing. If there's one game you would not mind getting moved, you just mentioned games you think some things may move around. I am the same. I'm of the same vein that not everything's going to stay where it's supposed, that where it was initially announced at. I do think there's going to be a lot of moving around next year. But if there's one game you wouldn't mind getting moved, what would it be?
Nobody can say Starfield, by the way. Don't any of you even think about it, okay?
Can we move
absolutely
Starfield
not. We can move it forward. If you want to say it's coming out in January, absolutely. But nobody here can say Starfield.
Yeah, I'm trying to think on that because like there's so much shit coming out. Like you could move a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe you move Dead Island to like October if October's looking a little light or something, to make it kind of like a Halloween game or something.
Mm-hmm.
Get that out of February, just clear that up a little bit more.
That makes sense.
You could also because we know there's going to be a light November with shooters, so I'm trying to think maybe you could move Redfall back too, just because that's going to be like one of your like the only other shooters that's kind of like big budget out that we know that's coming out. So maybe you move that to later in the year just to get a shooter out. You could do Forza. Well, yeah, I guess you could do Forza because you already have
line, man. Fuzz is here too.
Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking that you have Need for Speed coming out. Like, does that take some of Forza's market away, since it would be kind of so close within like a 5-month window potentially, that maybe you move Forza back later and you have your own racing game and you just kind of carve out your own niche later on? Just stuff like that. That's kind of where I'm at. Like you could move literally everything.
Yeah, that's so much that's a good point. I mean, I narrowed it down quite a bit to one game, but there's a lot of things that like I said before, I do think things aren't going to stay exactly the way we're all thinking. There's going to have to be. There's just too many games, bro. Like stuff's going to have to move around. But let me throw this over to you, Fuzz. One game you think that you could probably? Well, he did like 3, so so a game that you think you wouldn't mind getting moved.
Well, like kind of like with Pong, I don't want to see Motorsport get moved. I was hoping it would have been ready by January, February, but it is what it is. One that's kind of scheduled, I think, somewhere, although I don't know exactly where in 2023, is Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. I think that one was supposed to be the tail end of this year and then got moved to 2023, but I'm hoping it's out of the way of Forza, like if anything before Forza. So if Forza is going to be, March or April or something like that, then get this thing in January, but I doubt that's even possible.
You don't want like 2 racing games come out the same month, because then it's like, well, I just choose one.
Forza is going to take up most of my time. I really want to dive into like driving around Tokyo. I think that's the biggest thing with the Solar Crown. Like I want to at least experience kind of like that Tokyo Drift type of. Actually, no, like
Tokyo
Hong
Extreme.
Kong. Well, it's in
Tokyo
Hong Kong,
Extreme.
but like kind of like that nighttime neon lights, street racing type of deal beforehand. And I know, Need for Speed Unbound will kind of do a little bit of that, but it's more Chicago or Michigan kind of like area, driving around those towns and things like that. But Solar Crown is the one I would like to see kind of moved up, or at least out of the way of Forza, just so I at least get to play it a little bit before I dive into Forza, 24/7 kind of thing.
Okay, all right, not bad, Pong.
Well, Jasper kind of took a couple of mine there because Dead Island 2, I think, makes sense that it moves. Now, some people are like, how? It's already been in production for 8 years. Like, my God, man. How do you move that again? But, like, how it just showed up out of the blue. And it looked great. Don't get me wrong. I love Dead Island. And this one looks fantastic.
It was random as hell, though.
Yeah, it was random as hell that it just showed up out of the blue and they showed gameplay. So for me, like, there's still more for that team. And ACG said this week that there's a couple games within February that are looking to move right now because of the traffic jam that is there. Dead Island 2 makes sense to give that team more time to make sure that it's right after 8-9 years, whatever the hell it's been at this point, to make sure that you get that game exactly right where you want it. So I wouldn't mind Dead Island 2 moving out of there. As far as Xbox goes, I kind of already said mine, Motorsport.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm a big Motorsport fan. I'm obviously not the racing game fan that Fuzzy is, but I love racing games and I really do have a good time. But we got Need for Speed coming out. I get my fix. I re-download Forza Horizon whenever I need my racing fix. And I still got that. And I want to make sure that Motorsport is right. Because they are a brand new engine. Fuzzy can talk about this till we have sunrise. All that they've done in this game. And when I heard they weren't ready to get into the polishing phase until January, I'm like, ooh, okay. I don't want Turn 10 just to put this out to put it out and to get it out there. I'd rather them take more time next year and have it a fall release. I know as much as that hurts Fuzzy, and trust me, Fuzzy, I get it. I cry myself to sleep about Starfield, and World War III pops off. I'm never going to be able to play Starfield, so I want that game out sooner than anybody. But I think that's the one that makes sense from the Xbox side of things that I could see get moved just because pure time. I just really think that they want to have that game out, and if it means that we wait until September, October, but we can have another couple tracks added in there by the time it's ready to rock and roll and everything is looking great and all the cars that they wanted to get in there initially are in there. I think that one is the one that makes the most sense for me as far as what we know from Xbox right now.
Okay. And you know what? Sorry, Fuzz. I was going to say Forza 2. and it wasn't. And no, listen. Disclaimer, right? I want to make sure I put that out there. I still want Fuzz to be my friend after this. So, I mean, I don't. My reasoning wasn't necessarily that there was too many like Need for Speed because
no,
there's two different. They essentially please two different crowds, right? You got your sim racer, which Forza is the premier sim racer, right? I don't really think it's debatable. As great as GT is, I think Forza Motorsport is the pinnacle of sim racers. And then you got Need for Speed, which is the arcade. It's like Call of Duty Battlefield comparison. Starting the two. So I just think that, like you said, the whole polish thing. I do think that speaks volumes in my opinion. So I would like to see that get enough time to get where it needs to be. They're doing a lot of new stuff, and I want to see all of that new stuff work. Right?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to see it. Okay, well, it kind of works right now, but we're working on it. You know what I mean? We'll patch up later on. So I'd like to see that stuff work out the gate. Now, another one. This is a smaller game. I think we just got the official release date fairly recently, and that's Atomic Heart.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I don't know if it's big enough for them to actually move it though. It seems like it's the kind of thing where it's like we have our date. We're just
going to put it out. Yeah, we're just going to put it out. I mean, the devs to be fair, they've gone through hell the last year and a half or so. They've gone through hell, and just seeing the game in its state, they need a ribbon. They need a ribbon and a big check and all the kudos they can get for getting that game looking the way it is, literally in a war zone.
Yeah.
Like they got that game looking phenomenal, and they're in an active war zone. So
Well, no, they're in Russia side of things, so they're not an active.
active, but all the
Yeah,
stuff that's been going
but
on,
all the stuff that happened with them,
yeah.
they had, all the support got pulled.
Yeah.
There's people wondering if it was ever going to come out because Microsoft pulled out of Russia and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've gone through a lot of time.
They've had to deal with some very rare situations. Most devs will never go through anything close to that. So to me it feels like to me Atomic Heart feels like a summer game. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I
that's
get
what
the
I was
summer
kind of
vibe.
getting that too.
Exactly. I would love to see it closer to E3, like closer to E3, June, July-ish. I can't really think of anything else. I mean, there's so many games coming out. February's fucking stacked. Not everything's making February, bro.
No.
There's no way.
Move Age of Empires 2 up to January.
That makes sense. That I'm sure Pong once again. He's 100%
Age of Empires
behind
2
is
is January, is it?
Is
not?
it?
Yes.
Is it? I thought
Yes,
it was
it is
February.
January. No, it's
okay.
January.
Then we're good.
It's
We're good then.
Okay,
we're good.
Put it January 1st.
Yeah, so I don't know. So I guess we'll I think we'll not wrap this up, but we'll throw out another topic. I know we had actually some questions. Shout out to Sour Blow dropping in here, man. Shout out to Louis, all you guys over there at Xbox XBI, man. We had a couple questions. I saw, I think Bacon. Oh yeah, he did. Here we go. We'll end the show on this. This is actually a really good question. He said, question. Oh, let me pull it up here. With recent next-gen games like Gotham Knights and Plague's Tale having 30 FPS only modes, and Todd Howard saying in the past he is fine with 30 FPS, sorry, do we think Starfield has a 60 FPS mode? We're starting with you on this one, Pong.
Yeah. We've talked about this.
We've talked about this a little bit, yeah.
Listen, I put out the warning to Todd. Don't do it. I will come on this show and others and criticize you for it, Todd. If you only offer a 30 frames mode, you can have the special Todd Howard says you should only play this 30 frames mode because this is what he likes. You can have that up in big bright lights, and you can have another mode that says if you play this mode, you're going against Todd Howard and everything he believes in, but it's 60 frames. Like, I don't care what you do, Todd, but you got to have 60 frames in 2023. Okay. Yes, I do believe that Todd, as much as that he loves 30 frames, and he loves the 4K and he loves all that stuff, I think that Todd does understand that you should offer a 60 frames mode if you can make it happen. And I think that they will. We're seeing that Fallout 4 is now getting a current gen patch natively directly
That's a good
from
sign, by the
Bethesda.
way.
That's a good sign.
That's a good sign. Yeah.
The Skyrim Anniversary Edition also had the 60 frames native. Included with it as
Those
well.
were older games though, on newer
They
hardware.
were older games. Yes, I know. Actually, guy, don't come in here, okay? Listen. Actually, guy, they have access to more tools now with all the new RDNA 2 stuff as well, so that there is no reason why they can't offer it. Look, even if it has to be 1080, 60 to get it to work, I don't care. Just make it happen so I have the choice there. But I believe that yes, they've seen the light. Yes, with this extra delay now, that might have been something that might have been missing up front if we were getting this launched next week. And again, as I've said to everybody, I'm not being hypocritical. I would play Starfield. I freely admit that at 30 frames. I've played other Bethesda titles at 30 frames for years. I'm not the 60 frame snob guy, but I would also criticize them for not offering it at the same time, just like I did with Gotham Knights, just like I do with anything else. Nowadays, there's no reason. There is zero reason. Creation Engine 2.0 is not going to be doing something so ridiculously good that you can't get 60 frames. Cyberpunk
is kind of crazy.
Cyberpunk 2077 is a beautiful open world, gigantic, with massive amounts of NPCs on the screen, and CD Projekt Red got it to work with their own proprietary engine at 60 frames on the Series X, okay? So there's no reason why we can't have that, and I think that they will come out with a 60 frames option.
Okay. All right. So Jasper, you want to take a shot at this?
I kind of go back and forth on it because one side of me is like, games are going to keep getting better and hardware's not moving. So like at some point something's got to give there. And if it is frames, and is Starfield, is it going to be so big that like, say I'm on Earth, can I just fly to Mars without a loading screen? Like, is Mars still already loaded there? Like, because if that's the case where you can just travel to like entire planets with no loading, that's going to be a huge performance hit. And I'm like, can they do that at 60? I don't know. Like, sure, there's tricks they can do to.
No Man's Sky does it.
Yeah, but No Man's Sky is kind of shit.
And but we already know that Starfield, No Man's Sky allows you. I understand that difference too. But No Man's Sky allows you to land and take off from the planet and go through the atmospheres, whereas we know in Starfield that's going to be a cinematic cutscene.
Yeah, so they would hide the loading there.
Yes.
Yeah, and Creation Engine's like, it's not like visually, it
Right.
looks good, but it's not like real life. So
Correct.
you can say performance there. They could do it. Like, I mean, like Pong was saying, just make it 1080, turn off ray tracing, turn off all that other bullshit that is huge performance hits. Like, you could do it. I just don't know if I don't know if it's at launch. Maybe like later on, they're like, yeah, let's do it. But
that's the thing. I think it's just the only thing, like you said, is the size and scope of the game. They're doing new like this is that's new that's uncharted territory, right? Yeah. I mean, like you said, No Man's Sky kind of does it, but they do it a completely different way. Like, those graphics in No Man's Sky, things like that, that's a completely different style. I don't think it's as intensive as Starfield's going to be, as far as like the realistic look and how as much as you can do. So it's just that's like you said. I am 100% with you on this, Pong, that they should have the option, whether it's at release or a little bit later on. There absolutely should be an option in 2022, 2023 when the game comes out, right? It almost makes no sense for there not to be. My only caveat is we've never seen a game on this scope, right? Like outside of some like Star Citizen PC shit. You know what I mean? Like we've never seen, so it's hard. There's no baseline for this, right? There's nothing to compare it to. So it's hard to say, like, and we know Todd loves the 30 frames, and I get certain games have been getting killed for it, but like I think if the game is good enough,
the fact remains he likes 4K 30. If he gets this game at 4K 30, there's enough headroom to drop it down and get 60 frames. And that's coming from tech people. That's coming from tech people. If he gets native 4K 30 out of this game, no matter how big it is, there's headroom to make a 60 frames mode. And that's coming from tech guys. Again, I'm not the tech guy, but Jasper is.
The good thing about that is, though, that with the past like Bethesda games like Fallout and Elder Scrolls and all that stuff, they started putting in creation mods, like community mods that you can download. And like on Xbox and stuff, you can download, before there was like FPS boost, you could download 60 FPS mods where it would lower the resolution to like 720 or whatever. So at the end of the day, the community could fix it for us.
there's that too,
which they've done many times with
absolutely.
Bethesda titles.
Absolutely. So I don't chime in on this, Puzz, before we wrap this up, brother.
Yeah, I'm kind of the mind frame that there will be an option, just not at launch. And I was kind of thinking that it would probably be a community mod on PC and eventually on console. And then shortly after that, they'll actually have the official release. Like I would say that this is one of those things that they're probably working on, but I think they're probably trying to do the 60 frames with like a reduced ray tracing. I don't think, like, I think Todd has this vision for this game that he's going to want certain forms of ray tracing, whether it be like the global illumination and the shadows and stuff like that. I think he's going to still want it, even if it's on a reduced scale, even if it has to go down to 1080. So I think that from a visual standpoint, I think I'm not going to say he's going to be the reason for the delay, but I think he's trying to keep a certain bar for that 60 frames mode where.
But he doesn't keep that bar for PC.
Well, no,
he allows PC players to turn it all off. So
true. I mean, that's just how PC works.
I don't care. Now our consoles work that way too.
Pong is not budging, man. I'm trying to tell you.
Todd just doesn't have a vision just for the consoles. Okay, he has an overall vision, but he allows the PC players to do whatever the hell they please. So why not the console player? I know what you're saying, Fuzzy. I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, but I think it's definitely going to wind up being an option. But I think it's like, it's not going to be a year out. It's not going to be 6 months out. I think it's like at most 3 to 4 months out, which may seem weird with the delay and stuff. But I think it'll just be a matter of what we'll get for that 60 frames. It's going to be the better 60 frames with ray tracing, 1080 either locked or somewhere between 1080 and 1440. So it's going to still look like a movie as far as the particle effects and all that stuff, it's just that it'll be 60 frames.
Yeah, I was gonna say I kind of see where you're coming from because he's like Todd's the kind of person he's like when you enter the spaceship, I want to see fog and mist all over the room with fucking lights shining through the fog.
He absolutely is.
Exactly.
Yeah,
He absolutely is.
Yeah.
The other thing to consider though too is that other studios now not using the creation engine, which I know is different, it's proprietary, whatever else, but Arcane has already got experience now with Deathloop using FSR and that kind of stuff to help performance. So the fact that other Bethesda studios or ZeniMax studios have used technology to make their game 60 frames, I think does help the situation that, you know, Todd may give in on this one. And even if he doesn't want it, he gives it.
And like you said, they're just tools. There's newer tools available now. You know what I mean? Like that makes that, you know, so we, you know, a couple of years ago, you know, this would be a harder discussion to have, but there's a lot of tools now that have come out. You streamline a lot of different things that might give them a little bit of a performance edge that they didn't have prior to. So, and with the extra time, like we just talked about it, you know, maybe they have time now to implement some of those things and get, you know, find a nice balance between what Todd wants and what, you know, what we want essentially. So that's really all that needs to happen, you know.
But
like
see, the thing is when like everyone says there's new tools that like increases performance, what that ends up doing is since there's new tools to increase performance, games can go and be pushed further. So it's like it kind of equals out.
Yeah.
More
NPCs,
I
get
more
that.
visuals and so forth. Yeah.
So that was a great topic, and I think we're gonna wrap it up, man. This was a phenomenal show, man. I had so much fun today, and I hope you all watching had a great time. We do this every single Saturday here at the Shop Podcast. Come back and check us out next week. And for you audio listeners as well, don't forget I will be putting up the audio from this show tonight on anchor.fm. So check us out there as well too. That information is in the description below. But before we officially leave and close things out, gotta make sure we go around the panel and get these guys their just due. Get these guys just so. Shout out to you, Jasper, once again for coming and hanging out, bro. All the FSP love. I know Matt was in the chat. I didn't see Psycho today. Usually he's here, but shout out to Psycho, all the FSP family, man. You guys are our family. Like I said, we share. You guys always show love. So let everybody know, Jasper, where they can find you, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me on tonight, PTK. Lord Jasper on Twitter. I tweet maybe like once a month, so check that out. Lord Master Jasper on YouTube. I've been doing more content. I've been streaming more, making more videos. So go subscribe over there. Check that out. And then it's Monday night. It's FSPs with Fuzzy. 10 p.m. Eastern, Mav, 3-Bit, Psycho on there. And then it's back Friday night on Fun Speculation Channel with Xbox Ultimate. We got Pong, Fuzzy, and everyone else. The whole family over there. And that's where I'm at.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you. Once again, do us a favor. Go check out Jasper. Everything he has going over there. Do us a favor. Go check out FSP, Mav, Caitlin, the whole family over there, man. Shout out to you guys. And thank you once again, Jasper, for taking a little time out on your Saturday, bro, to hang out with us, man. Will not be the last time you guys see Jasper at the Shop Podcast. We love having him here, man. It's always a good time. So next to my two co-hosts who make me look good every single week, we'll start with Mr. Pong Soul, a.k.a. Pong Harvey, a.k.a. Pong Howard. So let everybody know where they can find you, brother.
Yeah, no problem. Great show. Obviously, awesome to be here, and obviously to speak with all of you and to have actually a guy here at Jasper as well. Kid Sweaty, as I called him on Twitter. Awesome, always. Again, it's like one big family now, PTK, and it always feels so great to end my Saturday night here. But it's just so awesome that we all kind of swimming in the same pond now, and it's sweet. So great topics, great night of talking. Listen, you guys know all the drills. Find me on Xbox, find me on Twitter. It's Pong Soul there. And then, of course, Tuesdays, if I'm available, I'll be on Xbox Factor. It's just less and less with work. It is what it is. But, of course, I'm still officially on the panel. So till Boom kicks me off, I'm going to promote it. So you got to be over at Double Barrel Gaming, Xbox Factor podcast every Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time for all good things green. Boom's doing it 5 days a week now. He is a full-time podcasting champion. So go check that out on Tuesdays. Thursdays, it's PM in the PM. Pong and Mav in the PM, two-man show unless we have guests. We've had great guests lined up over the past month with all the news breaking. We've had a lot of people like King David, 3-Bit, Dealer, Psychonauts. We've had tons of people from the community.
You guys been killing it, man.
Yeah, we have been killing it. Yeah, the King show was awesome a couple weeks ago. But normally it's just me and Mav, and we're back to that. So if you didn't check out this week's show, Go check it out. Awesome time there. But that's every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time on Fun Speculations channel. And then Friday nights, it's Xbox Ultimate. I had to miss last night. Had some family stuff going on. But otherwise, it's every Friday back at Fun Speculation for 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time, Xbox Ultimate, where it's just a great time. You show up, you're going to laugh. We're going to go sideways unless, of course, Mav lets me run the show. When I run the show, we don't go sideways. But normally Mav's running the show and we go sideways. So you're always going to have a good time Friday night. Be there. Saturday mornings, it's Mission 1K on Living Split Screen. We're still trying to get there. We're at about 650 people now subscribed. We need 350 more people, so please continue to share us out. We appreciate my brother from another Steel Rain, and I appreciate all of the support and love from this community. Again, 3+ hours. This morning, we were actually supposed to cut it short because I was going to have a triple header today. Wound up finding out right during the show, right when we started, that triple header wasn't happening. So then we wound up, what does Steele and I do? We go for 5 hours this morning, literally over 5 hours this morning. Don't know how it happened. Him and I were talking, just BSing, having a good time, talking with the chat. Next thing you know, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But it starts at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Whatever you got going on Saturdays, be there in the morning, show up 2 hours after we start. We're still going to be here. Listen, it's a great, great show every Saturday. Living Split Screen, Saturday mornings. Join us for that. And then, of course, the Shop Podcast, PTK Blam's channel, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time, right back
That's
here
changing,
next Saturday.
man, as of tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot because we're moving. That's right. Tomorrow we're moving. God damn it. We do gain an hour. So what is it going to be now? How does it work? God, we're gonna have to figure that out.
My time here doesn't move because I'm in AZ.
Yeah, that's right. But my time moves, so I'm moving back. So it'll be 8 o'clock Central.
It'll be 8.
Yeah. It'll be 8 o'clock Central Time. So that'll change. God, I gotta remember that next week. Remind me. Otherwise, it hasn't been announced. I was supposed to be on Go Live over on Game On Daily with Asa and of course the saucy one Gaz and Hargeet Channy. I was supposed to show up there. They had to cancel for some reason today. But we're going to reschedule for next week. They haven't announced it yet, of course, but I'll be on there next Saturday. So once confirmation happens, you'll see me tweet it out. So be on the lookout for a triple header next Saturday from me. But otherwise, it is the golden age of gaming, people. No better time than now to be a gamer. You guys know this. You have to know this. If you don't, please figure it out because you got to enjoy this time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Play what you love. Love what you play. There's 1,000 different things to play. Go watch that Atomic Heart boss trailer put out by IGN on your 4K. Get the best picture you possibly can. That's what we have to look forward to. That game is doing things that we have never seen in video games when it comes to detail ever before. That is the craziest thing I've ever seen. That's why I always say it's the golden age. We're seeing some new stuff coming out that we never expected to see. So get out there and enjoy yourselves for your Sunday or the rest of your weekend. Otherwise, chat, you guys were all amazing as always. Love you all. Nothing but respect. Thank you all for showing up.
Appreciate you, Pong, man. Battery of the Shop podcast every week, bringing that good energy no matter what's going on, man. So shout out to you. Thank you so much. And last but not least, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere. Let everybody know where they can find you, brother.
Oh, just awesome being here with you guys. Always love doing this on Saturdays. Man, thanks for everybody that was in the chat and joined us and interacted with us. For those that just want to hear my endless ramblings on anything gaming related or arguments on numbers and the division, just follow me on Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on Xbox Lunch Break Special on Mondays at 12 p.m. Eastern Time on Double Barrel Gaming. Later that evening, as Jasper was saying, on FSP on Fun Speculations channel at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Friday mornings on Breakfast with Boom on Double Barrel Gaming. And then later that evening, Xbox Ultimate, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Fun Speculations channel. And then right back here on the Shop Podcast at, actually with the time change, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Was that 6 p.m. Arizona time, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Wait, yeah.
So
yeah,
8 Eastern, 7 Central.
Eastern, yeah.
7
Central.
Yeah.
Okay. It's gonna be weird. I'll figure it all out. I'll make sure I tweet it out.
Just tell Pong 5 minutes before you go live.
I'll tweet it out though to make sure everybody knows for sure when it's when next week's show is gonna be.
Awesome. Look forward to it then.
All right, man. And once again, your host here, PTK Blam across the board. Follow me. All the credentials are in the everything down below. So I appreciate you guys checking us out, man. Give us a follow. Once again, the audio will be up tomorrow for our audio listeners, man. Go follow us there. It's a slow burn, so just people starting to discover us there. So please go check that out. That link is down in the description as well. That'll be up tomorrow morning. So appreciate you guys, man. Well, same time, same place. Well, not same time, but same place next week. I'll let you guys know about the time here shortly. But man, you guys enjoy your weekend. Have a good one. Be safe. Take care of each other. Peace out, everybody.
Later.
Bye.